lovely touch from him though. Harry Kane, Lucas Moura, can you do something, please? Last chance, Matt Doherty!
Oh, you shite! There could be from the dead to the
Don't fuck it up now, Go and win it!
Let's go
Last chance! Stephen Bergwijn! Stephen Bergwijn's through! Win it, Stephen! Come on! Yes!
He's won it! He's gonna win it! Oh my God! Oh my God! We did it!
Welcome! It is Friday. It is the 2022 version of February the 4th. And this is Spurs Talk Show. And my audio is all off. I've got to press pause on something. Hang on a minute. What a terrible start. What is going on here? Anyway, I'm going to turn this all down. I can hear myself on a massive echo. There we go. That's better. That's better, everybody. Now we're cracking. It is the day before game day. My name's Sean Butler. This is Spurs Talk Show. If you're new here, then welcome. You can find us at Spurs Talk Show on Twitter, and you can find us Spurs Talk Show on YouTube. But like I always say, if you use the English language like everyone should, you might think it's appropriate to put a space between the word Spurs and the word talk, and between the word talk and the word show. But if you did that on YouTube, you might not find me. You might find other content about Spurs, which is fine but not ideal, or you might find content about the San Antonio Spurs, and nobody cares about that. So you've got to put it all one word: Spurs Talk Show. Today, ladies and gentlemen, we have a wonderful panel. And we're going to bring them in right now. First up, you know him as Ireland's #1 Tottenham Hotspur fan. Straight over from the Irish Hotspur. It is Dave Harris. How are you, Dave?
Absolutely buzzing. You left out one thing, Shawnee. Ireland's #1 Harry Kane fan too, my man. Come on! And it's game day tomorrow. Tottenham are back, baby. Super fucking excited. Let's go.
Yeah, buddy. Good to see you, man. You good? How's everything going your side?
Yeah, absolutely buzzing, lad. Absolutely buzzing. Happy with the transfer window. Now it's time to see these signings in action, baby.
Yeah. Well, we're going to talk about that today. And we're going to talk about a few other things. There's lots to talk about. We've got the Tottenham Hotspur Supporters Trust that came out with an aggregated summary of the finances of where Tottenham sit right now. And I tell you what, I read this last night at midnight, Dave, and I got lots of things to talk about with it. I'm gobsmacked by some of the things that are inside of it, and we're going to go through it a bit today. But before we do anything like that, we're going to bring in the man who, when I asked him if he could join today, he said, maybe. I have got a dentist appointment in 6.5 hours' time. He knows how long these shows can go. It's the tactical genius, and the man who knows as much as anybody about players from around the world of football. Is Ihsan. How are you, my friend?
My man.
Doing well, man. Doing well. Really happy to be on. Thanks for having me.
No, I'm delighted you're here, buddy. How's your teeth?
Oh, they're great. I just flossed.
Oh, nice. Beautiful. Do you do that every day or just when you have the dentist appointment?
Oh, of course, every day. I had braces for a long time and Invisalign, so you have to take care of your teeth.
Yeah, you do. Do. That's the American culture, right? They prioritize dental hygiene at the very highest level.
Canadian, though.
Oh, sorry. Oh, are you?
Yeah.
That's like the 4th time I put my foot in it with Canadians saying that they're American. I do. Never mind. I do apologise. No offence intended. Everything's good. Everything's good with you generally.
Yeah.
All right.
Of course.
So we've got a few things to talk about today. The order of play is, first of all, we're going to talk about Steve Hitchen, right? We're going to go through some of the signings that Steve Hitchen has made during his tenure at Tottenham, Dave and Izhan, and we're going to look at the individual players, the cost associated, and then we're going to kind of go through and see, you know, generally speaking, how you feel about his time, whether he pulled his weight, whether he was the right man for the job, why you think he left. Was it too many cooks spoil the broth, etc. And then we'll go from there and see what you think's going to come. You know, with Paratici now going to be in the helm and have less people involved, less people kind of getting involved in his strategy. You know, whether you think what the future holds going forward, not just for the rest of this season, but into the summer, the free transfers that might be available, and how positive you are about the new structure. Of our backroom staff or our kind of boardroom level stuff. Then we're going to look at the Brighton match, right? We're going to go through their formation. I've got some predicted lineups, but I also want to blend this into, because of the way that our squad now looks. Do you think that 3-4-3 is something we're going to see more of? How do we see the new players fitting in? We're going to talk a little bit about Bentancur as well, and the things that he brings to the table, and whether it's something that can get us over the line in some of our cup competitions. And slightly after that, we're then going to move into the financial stuff, right? And we're going to go through that and pick the peanuts out of the poo, and we have a frank conversation to see whether or not we think there's as much money available and how important Champions League football is relative to UEFA Cup qualification. Because I'll tell you what, the numbers are like really, really insightful, really enlightening. I'm really pleased that the Tottenham Hotspur Supporters Trust did release that. For anybody who is interested, I will post the link shortly to the tweet from Tottenham Hotspur Supporters Trust, so you can go and read through it yourself. It's not that long. It's nowhere near as long as like a financial statement, which I usually read through, but it's and I don't think it's too complicated. I think they've done a really good job of kind of simplifying it or breaking it down for people who don't necessarily have that much inclination or interest in finances. So we'll get to that later though. Before we get started though, let's just see who's in the house. And there's 20 people already here. I think that's a record opening start. So come on, welcome everybody. Welcome to Spurs Talk Show. The first person who said hello is John Fitzpatrick. Hi John, how are you, my friend? Good to see you, buddy. Mr. K's in the house. Hi, Mr. K. Hope you're well, my friend. So hashtag Harris Army. I need an army. Or I guess I'm part of the Harris Army because I'm on their army as well. So do I need a breakaway army?
You need your own army though. You still need your own army. So that any time anyone comes after us, lad, we can join the armies together.
Maybe I'll be like the Marines or something like the Air Force. I don't know. It's like a different part of the military. Mark Cousins is saying, hello, afternoon, Sean. Hello, mate. Good afternoon to you as well, buddy. Mr. K saying your audio is fine. Yeah, sorry about that. I don't know why that was happening. Everything was on a delay with me, so I wasn't sure when I had my intro music whether it all looked out of sync, but apparently it was okay. Guguma is saying, hi, Sean. Hi, Guguma. I'm lovely to have met you for the first time yesterday on one of the other shows, on Eugene's show. Pleasure. You're an absolute sweetheart. I hope you're well. Chris Agomba. Hi all. Hi Chris. Thanks for stopping by, my friend. And James, is it James from the Spurs Related? It's James, isn't it? Yeah. Hi James, how are you, mate? Great to see you, buddy. Hope you're well. Kaguma saying hi, Irish Hotspur. Hi David. Big up Harris Army, Mark Cousins. Kaguma, they're saying hello to each other. Hello, Izhan. You never get left out with a hello from Kaguma. Everyone gets a hello from Kaguma. Yeah. Very polite. You never get that type of intro. Well, next time you come on, you'll get an intro. I'm trying to up my game after being on your channel yesterday. Mr. What's his name? Will Stewart's intros are phenomenal. He's got like specific songs for specific people. Blows my mind. Chris Agomba saying hi, Gaguma. Mr. K. Up the Canadians, they beat the US. That's a yeah. When did this happen? Was that in the football? Was it in the International Cup? Was it?
Yeah. 2-0. We beat them 2-0.
Wow. Who's Canada's best player?
Alphonso
Davies.
Oh yeah. Okay.
He's from where I live, actually.
Is he? Is he a superstar?
Yeah.
Congratulations. That must have been like a sweet victory, right?
Yeah, of course.
Nice. All right, Oliver Freeman's in the house as well. Oh, hang on, I just cut him out. Just seen you're on this, Dave Harris. We'll catch up next time.
I'll give you a ring in a little while, Oliver. After this, I have my own show, and then I'll ring you after that, my man.
There was a sign outside Hotspur Way asking for Hitchen to leave. He was kind enough to oblige. Well, apparently he's a very nice guy. Apparently he was incredibly likable. He always said the right things. Everybody loved him. So maybe he was just obliging for you guys out there.
That was the top comment. That was the top comment.
Brian C. Socrates, the philosopher in name and nature, is in the house. Hi, Brian. How are you, my friend? Big up, lads. Looking forward to seeing the game plan with our new signings and Spurs back on the pitch tomorrow. I can't wait, Brian. I can't wait. It's been too long. It's been far too long without Tottenham shirts on the pitch. So, a random Spurs fan. Hi. Thanks for stopping by. Big boss man. Woo! Hello, mate. How are you, buddy? Manage beats. Gang, gang. Buzz, buzz. What's crack-a-lacking? Thanks for stopping by, man. I don't think I've seen you around here before, Managed Beats. I appreciate you stopping by these parts. It's nice. It's very much appreciated. Mr. K, ha-ha army. The ha-ha-ha army. The ha-ha-ha army. We'll figure something out. We need to get something going on with an army. I haven't got an army. I need a hashtag as well. I'm getting left behind. John Fitzpatrick, leaving in army. No, sir. No, sir. No, I'm just valuing. Bring the value. And you know what? I tell you what, guys. I hope that after this, the final part of the show today, when we look at the finances, I hope that people have a little bit more kind of appreciation of how difficult it is to make ends meet in football. Because some of the numbers that I've seen, like in terms of how, like you think about the stadium, how much money that should be bringing in versus how much it does bring in as a percentage of the salaries that we pay. It's mind blowing, and how important it is to get top four is crazy. And Wayne Bonner's in the house. And sorry, I've skipped over Tottenham Tantrum Gold. Hi Dermot, how you doing, mate? Big up, guys. And Dave, you never beat the Irish.
Know, Dermot. You know.
Yeah, but I'm sure Americans used to say to the Canadians, you'll never beat the Yanks. But they did. They did.
We did. The War of 1812. Canada and US had a war. We actually won.
Yeah, fair enough. That's what matters, right? That was fair enough. Canadian Army. Hashtag Canadian Army. Wayne Bonner's in the house. Afternoon, gents. Hope you're all well. Hi, Wayne. How you doing, mate? And Stevie Fraser. Big up, Stevie. Always here, man. I appreciate you. And Couva. Big up, lads. You never beat the Couva. Something beat the Couva the other day. You were very sick the other day, Couva. I hope you're back on your feet and feeling better, bro. I hope you're... I heard that you were a little bit poorly, mate. So, Irish Spurs Army on tour next weekend, mate. Cannot wait. It's going to be awesome to meet everybody from the island side of the Spurs Army that are coming over, plus a lot of people that I haven't met yet from other channels that are going to be in the Wolves game. So it's going to be fun. Right, that's about everybody. That is in the comments, so we can get started now. 28 people in the chat. That are watching right now. If you haven't already, really appreciate it if you could smash the like button, and also you haven't got to smash it, but if you haven't already, just give the little subscribe button a little gentle rubber dub, because it would mean the world to me to crack on and try and get to 1,000 at some point in the next 2 or 3 years. All right, we're gonna get going. So we're gonna start off, ladies and gentlemen, with Steve Hitchen. Well, I just want to ask you just gently. Dave, we'll come to you first. Are you happy he's gone? What are your overall thoughts before we get into the specifics of the names? Like, when you think of the name Steve Hitchen, do you think, or what do you think?
Imposter. I'll be honest with you. Look, for me, the guy was brought in to probably try and take us on to the next level. The fact that Paratici has come in, got rid of a lot of the signings that this guy has made, completely overhauled the scouting department, which this guy was in charge of, and the fact that he pushed Steve Hitchen out of a job kind of tells us everything we need to know. Look, Steve Hitchen, for me, apart from Daniel Levy, because obviously everything sticks to the top, but Sean, I'm a big believer. If you're employed in a role and you don't do it, you should be ousted, and you should be taking responsibility. And for me, a lot of the responsibility of where we have found ourselves in relies on him. You know, a lot of the responsibility on players that come in on big wages that we struggled to get rid of, so we couldn't improve the squad in an adequate manner before today, lies on him. The amount of mismanagement of monies when it spent on signings falls on him. He is a massive part of the mess that we found ourselves in. We're still not out of it. Obviously, now we can see a future. You can see a plan. I don't know about everybody else, but for me, now that Steve Hitchen, Ndombele, Dele Alli, Lo Celso, and that are all off the books, I can actually see a path going forward. I can actually see a plan going forward, and I'm very optimistic. But look, Steve Hitchen had to go. The fact that he actually wasn't sacked really, really annoyed me. He shouldn't have been allowed to resign. He should have been sacked.
Yep. Yeah, okay. Interesting. I mean, Ishan, do you think his popularity had anything to do with this? Everyone, you won't find anybody at Tottenham Hotspur that says a bad word about this guy, right? Every manager that came in, if you read the Football London review the other day, every manager that came in that didn't like the idea, that thought they would have more control over signings, etc., within a couple of weeks, within a couple of months, they all had nothing but positive things to say about Steve Hitchen, the players as well, all of the coaching staff, all of the, the tea ladies and the cleaners, everyone apparently thought this guy was awesome. Tottenham fans didn't. How do you feel about it? And why? And do you think the popularity was the thing that kept him around for so long?
I mean, look, you can be a nice guy, but that's not what you're paid to do. You're paid to bring in signings and good signings at that. And if you can't do that, and this is over a consistent period of time, this has been many years of blunder after blunder after blunder after blunder, and then you need someone else to come in and then clean up your mess. I pretty much agree with David. He had to go. He should have been sacked. He really had no purpose by the time Paratici came in. And yeah, I do agree. Maybe it was his popularity. I don't know. Maybe it's because, I sort of have this theory that, Paratici and Conte are, on one side, and then, Hitchen and Levy are on, the other side. So then, Hitchen is, sort of, Levy's spy, right? To know, what's going on while, Paratici and Conte are talking. So yeah, I think it was sort of that sort of dynamic which kept him around.
Okay.
Just to add to that, Sean, of course the players liked them because he brought them in on big wages, overpaid for the ability that they had, and then he struggled to get rid of them. We constantly heard, we can't get rid of them. Paratici comes in and does it within 2 windows. What a guy. Steve Hitchen, of course the players are going to like him when, and this is the team. Should he be friends with the players that he's tasked to be replacing?
Yeah.
I don't think so, because you're going to struggle to get rid of guys that you like, Yeah.
No, but it's a really interesting point, mate, actually, that I used to have a boss when I worked for Google in New York. I used to have a boss that was accessible, right? You could go to him and he was a nice enough guy, but he never breached that level of familiarity. He'd never go down the pub with you for more than one drink. He never got too familiar, too friendly, because if you ever dropped the ball in your game, then it was up to him to come down on you with a ton of bricks. And it was more difficult to do that if he was your friend as well as your boss, And I think that Hitchen, it's a great point. Should he have been too close? Maybe you got to take a step back. And also, I think you're right. I think it's a really interesting point. He did bring people in on top wages. I don't actually have the salaries in front of me, but I do have the player names that he signed, the main players that he signed over his tenure, and I've got the costs, the supposed costs. So we can go through each one if you want to just give a couple of little sentences on whether you think he was whether it was a success story or a flop or somewhere in between, I guess, right? We'll start with Juan Foyth. Cost us 12 million. Back, a few years back when 12 million wasn't extortionate money, but he came in as a youngster with a bit of promise from Argentina. Didn't do much for us, did he? But he went off to Spain and won the Europa League. Did we miss a trick with him, or was he just not right for the Premier League? What happened with Foyth? And I'll come to Dave. You go first, and then I'll come to his hand.
Yeah, look, with Juan Foyth for me, maybe we did sell him a little bit too early. He's done well at Villarreal, but 12 million for a youngster coming in, I think to be honest with you, we got ripped off there. We shouldn't be paying 12 million for an unknown quantity coming in from Argentina. 12 million on a player that's nowhere near the first team at Tottenham. I think we definitely overpaid there. And for me, do you know what? You can see the guy has ability, but unfortunately, it was just wrong timing, Sean.
Yeah.
If we had a squad that was settled, you could have given him that time to develop. You could have given him that time to be loaned out, come back in. But because of the mess we found ourselves in, we need players that are ready to go now. And that's probably why, he ended up off the Villarreal. We've seen the 11 million. We thought, nice one, we'd take that, put it towards transfers. And for me, I just think the settled squad, he'd still be here, because he'd have time to be blended into the team. Because we need to hit the ground running, we didn't really give him a chance to succeed, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree. And I think we did get our money back on him in the end, didn't we? So he wasn't in the end a massive, it was a disappointment. Ishan, how do you feel about Juan Fife? And Argentinian players in general, because there's a couple of them in here we can go through. So, do you feel about, is Juan Fife, do we just struggle with Argentinians or is Juan Fife just one that got away?
Yeah, he never really got the time to develop, when you're playing in the Premier League and whatnot for a club that's aspirations are to be in the top 4 every season. It's hard for like a really young guy. Like, how old was he even? Like 20 years old?
Yeah, youngster. Yeah, 21,
right?
22.
Like, really young guy to like settle in. Like, who was in front of him? Like Alderweireld, Vertonghen. It was hard for him to really get any game time. And I think now that he's 23 or 24, he went to Villarreal. He got game time, and he's playing well there. So this one I wouldn't really say like, oh, Hitchen, like you signed a complete flop. This guy was horrible. Clearly, he has ability. He won the Europa League. He played a big part in winning the Europa League. So, yeah, I just think like wrong place, wrong time. That's what I would say. Wrong place, wrong time.
Okay. Let me pick one out then. Let me pick one out that is a bit more controversial. Let's go for Llorente, 14 million quid. Right, we paid for him. What do you think? Was he a player that he got us to the Champions League, I guess, right? Or did well, but generally speaking, would you consider his time a success at Tottenham, Dave?
I would say so. For what he was brought in to do, I thought he'd done very well, which was backup striker to Kane. It was adequate. It was adequate. He scored some big goals as well for Tottenham. You think of that one in the Champions League run against Man City, the one that came off the hip. That one. So he
had no idea he had no clue what was going on, but he got the goal anyway.
Look, the fact that he was running in to try and get on the end of something, I take that all day long. You know what I mean? Honestly, I've been there before. It doesn't matter if it comes off the big lad between the legs. It's still off, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
For me, I actually think for what we've paid for him, of course he was getting on a bit as well, but I actually think he done a very decent job as a backup striker. To Harry Kane. It could have been a lot worse, and in fact, it did get a lot worse. It ended up, we went to Carlos Vinicius after that, which was absolutely shocking. But Llorente, I actually think he got that deal right,
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay. What about you, Hassan? Do you think he was he proved value in the end?
That goal against Man City was completely worth it.
He had no idea, did he?
But the one issue I had with Llorente, like he came in, he did his job, right? The performances really didn't concern me that much for what he was expected to do. The one problem I had though was his contract was I believe he was only given a 2-year contract, right?
Yeah.
So then like immediately after 2 seasons, he just left for free. Like we didn't even get any price, like even 5 million.
He was quite old though, wasn't he?
Off that. Yeah, he was
at the tail end of his career. Yeah.
Yeah, but I feel like, I don't know, just the two season contract was really strange. And yeah, I felt like him just leaving for a free was kind of like, we probably could have gotten at least like 2-3 million out of it. or
Do
4
you know
goals.
what? Do you know what, Isan? I do understand what you're saying, but for me, for what we needed at the time, which was kind of like a stopgap, someone to come in and help
Yeah,
Harry Kane, I think he got it absolutely spot on. But you know what? I actually don't mind taking a loss on someone like that. Look, he was a guy that has played all around Europe for some big European clubs. You know what I mean? And he scored goals, and I can understand that one. And I don't mind us not making anything of it, because this is something I think Tottenham should do a little bit more of at times. Just bring in one or two that's coming to the tail end of their career that can still help out the team. But not only that, but the influence, the advice they can give to players in the dressing room who haven't been there and done it, is absolutely invaluable and immeasurable. And I'm actually delighted Tottenham got that one done. Don't mind us not making anything of it. I would actually like to see one or two more of them over the years.
Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
I don't have a problem with it
I
either.
agree.
I think he's one of those, and even the goal that got us through to the final, that would have made us at least an extra, 10 million in various gate receipts and various, into the semi-final, I should say. I think he paid for it. I think he paid for himself, didn't he? It was worthwhile. So we're putting him down as a tick, right? I've got just a pretty simple formula here: a tick, a space, like a cross if he's a flop, or a line for we're not sure, could have, maybe would have, whatever. Aurier, are we talking Aurier? 23 million. I mean, at the time, I think everyone didn't like him, got fed up, but we haven't really improved the position since, have we? So let's come to Isan first on this one, and then we'll flip back to Dave. Aurier for you, mate? Hit, miss, or somewhere in between?
He has had a couple good games. Like, it's not like he's been utterly atrocious like Doherty. But overall, for the price, for what we expected, I mean, he was a walking mistake. Every time the ball came down the right-hand side, I was just like this, like, please, like, just please, like, please. He would give away stupid free kicks as well, constantly. It was just annoying, very annoying. He was just, I didn't really like Aurier. I prefer Emerson to Aurier by a country mile.
Okay.
Yeah.
Dave?
I absolutely hated this guy. Look, you have a right back who cannot defend, who's rash. All the attributes that no defender should be possessing. Panicky, rash, can't control. Like, do you know what really pissed me off was the lack of basics this guy could do, which was pass, control a ball and pass a ball. I absolutely hated him. For me, it was panic stations every time he played. Yeah. And I think the players felt that as well. I think oppositions targeted him anytime he played. Just go down the left-hand side. Aurier will take you down, or you will get a cross in. Yep. And for me, honestly, how you can pay 20-something million, and it's worse because I know we paid more for Sissoko. It's going to get worse, just the Atlanta Spurs fans out there. But you're paying 20-something million for a guy that's not a winner, because if he was, he would have stayed at PSG longer than what he did. A guy who can't defend, has all the characteristics you don't want in a defender. A guy who cannot do the basics, and you're paying him a massive money, and he was a bad influence in the dressing room as well. For all around, that better be a big fat X beside his name, Shawnee. He was he was an absolute loser. I hated the guy. Storming off under Jose Mourinho at halftime against Liverpool.
That's the other thing about him was he never held his hands up and looked like he was sorry. When all the mistakes were made and he got criticism, he always came across like, fuck you. And there was that rumour when he spat in the crowd after he scored a goal. He was like, he was celebrating, but then he spat at the fan. I don't know if that's, whether he was just spitting, as footballers do. But he always came across like he had a moody little attitude, and that his shit didn't stink, and it really annoyed me. So don't worry about it, mate. I've done a double cross because
just quickly, the whole reason why I believe we got him is because he's been offered to Tottenham from PSG. The fans are going to go wild for this one. It's a player from PSG, And then as soon as he signed, they're kind of sitting there like, this guy being a bench warmer, so I've never heard of him.
Yeah. Can you just to on a side note, taking that point into consideration, have Tottenham ever signed a successful player from the French league?
You're going to read. That's it.
Oh, yeah.
Lloris.
Yeah, Hugo Lloris. Yeah, Hugo. That's it, right? I can't think of anybody else.
And G, Kudu, players like that. The list goes on. Lucas Moura, you could say maybe
Yeah,
signed
Lucas
him for
Moura as well.
He's been steady, but yeah, no, a lot of flops come from there.
And we've got Pape Sarr coming in the summer. Can't wait for that one.
That
Do you
guy
think he's getting out there either?
What's that?
He's not playing out there at the minute either.
He had a good AFCON, didn't he? Anyone know?
Yeah,
Well,
yeah, he has.
Yeah,
been
he's
good
been
in
he's been decent in the AFCON, coming off the bench and that. But with the team we loaned him back to in France, he's not even playing at the minute.
No. It's insane, yeah. And you know what? When you sign someone, like when you got to wait a year for them, you kind of get excited. Like, oh, it's like a Christmas present that you can't open until Christmas Day. That's sat under the Christmas tree from like the 1st of November.
Use that PlayStation you want, Sean, but you can't open it.
Yeah. Exactly. I hope Pape Sarr works out. All right, so we're giving Aurier a big cross. We'll go to Lucas Moura next, right? 26 million. I think we paid for him. I mean, he's one of my favourite players because of his just heart, his energy, his passion. But what are your thoughts? Hit, miss, or somewhere in between?
Do you know what? Purely for that Ajax moment, he got us to the biggest stage of all time. You're going to probably have to put him down as a hit, to be honest with you. And look, Sean, when a player maybe hasn't been playing so well or maybe lacks sometimes that end product, I can take a player that does at least the basics, who will work hard, will run hard, close things down, try and win balls where possible, still keep trying to do the right thing, and I can accept that. Accept that. And you look at it, 26 million from PSG. I mean, I can understand why we took that gamble, to be honest with you, because I know at this time he wasn't really playing for PSG, but before that, when he was playing for PSG, when he first came over, that goal he scored this season against Norwich, I'm going to say?
Norwich, Belter.
He used to score them for fun in the Champions League for PSG. That ability was always sort of there. And for me, look, I think he's been all right for Tottenham. I think he's been a steady signing. Again, you look at it, maybe we could do a bit more better quality there. But overall, I think his attitude has been superb at Tottenham. And it hasn't been the easiest ride. I mean, he could have threw his ties out of the pram being dropped for the Champions League final. Could have threw his ties out of the pram when he first signed. He didn't see action for ages because it's the way Pochettino kind of was with his new signings. It took him a while to blend them in and stuff. And for me, I've been happy enough with him. Could have been better, but look, for 26 million, I mean, you've got what you've got,
Yeah, okay. Isan, before I just come to you, mate, quickly, I just want to get through, call out a few things. First of all,
sure.
James at Spurs Related is saying, what are your predictions for the coming games against Brighton, Southampton and Wolves? James, if you can hang around, bro, we are going to move on. I'm not going to, because the time's flying like it always does, so I'm actually not going to go through every single player of the Hitchen thing. We're going to cross a few offers, absolute shit shows, and then we are going to move on to the Brighton thing shortly in about 10 minutes. And then from there, we're going to talk about the future, what's going on with the formations and stuff, because I do want to save at least half an hour at the end for the financial review. And then also, I know Dave's got to jump off at sort of 2:45 or 3 o'clock time. I don't know, his hand's got 5 hours before he's got to panic for his dentist appointment. But I will throw out, if there's any interest, anyone wants to jump on later on, I'll put the link in the chat if we can expand out the group. But so if you hang around for 10 minutes, James, we'll get to the Brighton game. Phil's saying, great show, lads. Thank you, Phil. Love you, bro. Appreciate you. Is the match on TV in the UK? I think it's on ITV. Which one, sorry?
ITV4.
ITV4, yeah, it's a weird one, yeah. So, it should be on there. Old soul, 12 to 18-month loan deals with option deals are appealing to me more and more. 100% agree, mate. And you got to Dave's point, you have to give the kind of credit where it's due to Paratici for coming in and just trying to get these things going. But certainly loan deals, and also I think it's going to become more and more relevant when you look at these numbers I'm going to talk about in a little while. Lazy 8 afternoon, lads. Hi, mate. How are you, buddy? Stevie Fraser saying Llorente mostly wasn't great, but the big moments balanced that out, so I call it a hit. Just interesting. I think you agree with Dave there. Chris Agomba saying, which is Hitchen, the person well in his new job. He may have identified some good and a lot of poor players, but Levy was the one who wrote the checks and got the final say in bringing them in. Yeah, but you know, Daniel Levy's not the guy who's got to watch the training videos and figure that stuff out, Chris, where I probably agree. Alexander Hilton saying steak. I never understand what that's about, but hello, Alex, how are you? Crocodocs in the house. Hello, mate. Thoughts on Conte's conference regarding Spurs transfer over the years? I haven't actually had a chance to look at the conference, his press conference yet, Crocodoc. So I don't know if you guys saw it at all. Have you?
No, I haven't seen it. I've seen some quotes. But I haven't.
Yeah, I think it was happening just as I was getting prepared. It was happening around 12:45, so I didn't get a chance to see it yet, Croc. So I'm sorry, mate. Haven't got much to say on that. If anyone has any access to the quotes and wants to stick it in the comments, we'll definitely read them out. James, appreciate your appreciation of my laugh, mate. It's very nice. Mark Cousins, just for Ajax, a tick. What was that about? Who was that? What's that about?
Lucas.
Oh, Lucas Moura. Yep, okay. Benoit Asuakotu, is that? Did well for us. He signed him from Lens. Oh, yeah. I was that about how the French players coming in.
Yeah.
Benoit Asuakotu was a good player, actually. Yeah, even though he didn't care about football, he
more
was a good player.
More about the money than he did football. Hated football.
Could you imagine having all the talent in the world and doing everyone's dream and just despising it?
Yeah.
Absolute torture. Lucas is obviously a hit. Brilliant signing, says James. Gaguma agrees. Lucas Moura, she's got a lot of love for him. Stephen Fraser, Lucas this year has been a way better end product. Yeah, you know what it is? And I don't know if you guys agree with this, and I'll ask Izan first. Do you think that Lucas, like maybe, because to Dave's point, he did used to bang him in Holland. Do you think that just being in a team where there's superstars around him in the positions, when he comes on, he doesn't feel like he has the confidence, or didn't feel like he had the confidence? He was always sometimes looking to offload to Harry Kane or to Sonny rather than just taking it on. And maybe, you know, that's something that we're seeing a little bit less of now. Lucas Moura seems a little bit more like he's willing to have a crack and get back to the striker that he used to be. What are your thoughts there?
Yeah, I guess I would agree with you. I think he's like solidified his spot more as a starter now. So I think that's giving him more confidence, more agency to go out and, you know, just play his natural game instead of, you know, trying to like not make mistakes.
Yep. Yeah. Cool. Yeah. I listen. I just think he needs to. Whatever it is that made him have that crack against Norwich, he wouldn't have done that before. Whether someone's put an arm around him and said, "We trust you. Have a shot when it's necessary. Take the ball by the horns." Whatever it is, we're going to need him to contribute more end product. But I love the guy, and he's.
You know what I'd be doing, Shawnee? If I was someone in and around that club or management, I'd get a reel of all the old goals and that he used to score for PSG in the Champions League and stuff like that. Put together like a compilation highlight with some like motivational music and sit down and make him watch it. That's exactly what I'd be doing, and saying, "Look, Lucas, this is why we took the gamble on you. This is why we signed you. We want you getting the ball, cutting it off the wing and popping it straight into the top corner like we know you can do." Yeah. You know, I think it's just screaming for it. Someone just to sit him down with that and make him watch it. I think you'd see a whole different Lucas Moura. Sometimes I think he's a bit lost in games, you know, but whereas if you just sat him down, showed him and said, "Lucas, that's exactly what I want," I think you'd see Lucas Moura kick on. Yeah.
Do you know what, Dave? Like, how fortunate are football players that they can have highlight reels and then someone with clever editing can put like my intro music, like some deep fucking house music that gets everyone pumped up with just Lucas Moura's finest moments, matched to the beat of the music. I wish in my job someone was recording my highlight reel, so whenever I had like a little lull moment, they put some classy music and they just saw me furiously typing away at the keyboard with absolute energy and power. That would really motivate me, but unfortunately no one's recording me doing my day job, so...
Do you know what? Everyone probably needs a little bit of that in life, you know?
Yeah, a highlight reel.
Football players are lucky, but, you know, they should be doing it because with football players and a lot of athletes, psychology is a massive part, absolute massive part. And for me, that's what you should be doing with Lucas Moura.
Yep. Yeah, I agree. All right, just to get through the last couple of these, and then we're going to get back on with the list, and we're going to scratch some names off quickly, and then because it is 2:45, and I wanted to get on to Brighton by 2:45. So, all right, Spurs. James saying he's hanging out. No worries. Awesome, buddy. Listen, you got all those. What's Coy's TSA? What's that? I'm not sure what that one is, but I need a hashtag. I need a COY something. Tony K, hey guys, always enjoy listening to you. Thanks, mate. Appreciate you, buddy. Thanks for stopping by. Cody Mack, Sean. Love you, mate. Come on if you want later on, buddy. I'd love to continue the chat with you. Same with you, James, and anybody else who wants to check out SR. What's SR? Spurs related. Oh yeah, 100%.
We've made the write up for it.
What's that?
He says underneath, we've made the write up for it.
For the game. Oh, okay. Okay, yeah, 100%. Well, everyone, either way, make sure you get over to Spurs Related's YouTube channel as well. It's awesome. It's growing. And James and his American friend they're wonderful on the screen. So 100% get over there and check them out and subscribe if you haven't. Alex Hilton still got Jack Clark for 10 million, for fuck's sake. Yeah, 100%. He's on the list. He's one of the names we don't have to talk about, right? He's obviously just a flop. Is that fair?
Yeah, okay. Look, just quickly, what a waste of money, and the fact that we still can't offload him now for any sort of transfer fee shows it.
I don't know how long has he got left on his contract. We signed him for 10 million, and he spent literally every second out on loan, hasn't he?
I think he's got like a year and a half left on the contract, I think.
Madness.
Expires in 2023.
So we're just winding it down. Absolute nonsense. Priam Tusif, hello buddy, haven't seen you before. Appreciate you stepping by. Spurs much needed win against Brighton, 100%. We're going to talk about that in just a couple of minutes. Spurs released a press conference video in their YouTube channel. I know, yeah, we just haven't had a chance, and I'm not sure if I can show it without copyright stuff. So I won't be doing that. Oh, here we go. This is a comment for sure. It was strange to send out on loan 4 players and 1 transfer in January. You have to buy players to reinforce your team, but if you send away any players you bought in the last 2 or 3 years, it means you did something wrong in the past. Fucking hell.
I mean,
that's not particularly positive, is it?
Well, I mean, the thing is, though, Sean, it's not enough Spurs fans didn't know. You know what I mean? How long have we all been sitting here talking about the recruitment, talking about Steve Hitchen and stuff like that? And what Conte is saying is just echoing most Spurs fans' thoughts.
Yeah.
Yo, I like his honesty because, you know, Conte knows that he has the cards in his hand over Levy, because if Levy breaks promises or does anything, he knows the fans are going to be on his side, Conte's side.
Yeah. He's got a free hit, hasn't he?
Not him. So he can say whatever he wants, basically.
I don't know. That doesn't sound like... I would have thought he would have been relatively happy, but you read between the lines on that, and he doesn't sound like he's happy at all. He sounds like he's saying... Well, he might be throwing some mud at Steve Hitchen as well there, if he's saying in the last 2 or 3 years you did something wrong in the past. And I think that's fair. It was strange to send out on loan 4 players.
I think he's just trying to kind of say to people, look, you know, it's unusual that we send out 4 players on loan in January. But the reason why we've had to do it is because our past failings. You know, these players have come in. That some Bardeli Ali haven't been good enough. You know, and I think it's just basically he's just doing what Paratici, you know, adding to Paratici's team from yesterday. You know, explaining the transfer window, explaining what's gone on.
Yeah, maybe it's not as negative then. Maybe he's just being frank, and I'm interpreting too much from the word strange. Yeah. Maybe he's just explaining it exactly. It's just because he's basically saying he's pulling the rug, or he's throwing Hitchen royally under the bus.
Do you know where I reckon that comes from, Shawnee? Is because a lot of people are saying, "Oh, how dare we lose 4 players and we only bring in 2? We're weaker." I mean, yeah, if you look at solely on the numbers, we're weaker. But if you look beyond the numbers and you look at the players we got out who are adding that and then getting the 2 players we got in, we actually do have more strength than what we did before the transfer window starts.
I think we do.
Offered absolutely nothing.
I think we do, and and this is one of the questions I've got coming up, is about Bentancur. Like, I think his the fact that he's won stuff, you know, in a key position. He's won a lot with Juventus. Like, we don't have anybody apart from Ben Davies is the only outfield player in our squad that's ever won anything apart from obviously Hugo Lloris. But Ben Davies was an unused substitute in the 2015 Carabao or Carling Cup final.
2013, I think.
13 was it? Whenever a couple of years back, a couple of years earlier maybe.
Yeah.
So we don't have anyone who knows how to get it over the line, and it's an important thing when you realise the stat I'm going to reel off in a minute.
We do though. We do. Christian Romero won the Copa America.
That's a good point. That's a very good point. That's a good point. Damn it!
Yeah, damn it! We have to sign him. I think in terms of what Sean meant is up
good point.
until now.
Yeah. Yeah, I
know,
understand.
up until-
Yeah, I
Up until
understand.
Paratici signings,
Yeah.
we haven't signed players that have won things. And
To be fair, Dave, I hold my hands up. I completely forgot about Romero. Completely undermined me. Cheers, Atan. Spurs related James is come on, Coys, come on, you Spurs talk show army. Coys to sa, love it.
Yeah.
Nice one, thanks, buddy. Appreciate that. I did need one of those. No press no mate. The press conference quotes for you. Okay, he's Canadian. Sorry, mate, I've done it again. I've confused another Canadian for American. I'm so bad at that. That's Hitchen being called out. Love it. Says Kuva. Brian Maguire. Hi, Brian. What centre backs will be bringing within reason? Well, that's probably another conversation. I mean, any names that come out to you guys that you'd like to see in the summer?
Pau Torres.
Salisu.
Yeah,
No,
the
he's
clumsy
good,
man. He's clumsy.
He's good. I would also like to see Goncalo Ignacio from Sporting come in.
Yeah, not a bad shout.
Okay.
Good.
Okay. All right. So appreciate everyone stopping by. By the way, we've got 45 now. Some news. Okay, it's highest for the day. If anyone is brand new here, I have seen a few names for the first time. If you haven't already, please like and subscribe. It means the world to us. Okay, so I'm going to move on from the. Oh, you know what? I'll just go through the names. Just shout out hit or miss. Right. Lo Celso.
Flop.
Miss.
Ndombele. I think I know where that one's going to go.
I mean, come on, you don't even have to ask.
Sanchez.
Flop.
Miss. Yeah.
Sessegnon.
Flop.
Jury's out. I'd say he's still pretty young.
Okay, I'm going to give it like a somewhat of a cross, a three-legged cross. Stevie B, Bergwijn.
Flop.
Yeah, I don't know. Jury's out, I guess. He's picked up form.
But Stevie B before the 2 goals against Leicester. Flop.
Yeah,
okay.
I'd agree. Yeah.
Gedson Fernandez.
Idiot.
You don't even need to ask.
Joe Hart.
Flop.
Flop. Yeah.
Gareth Bale on loan.
He did his job.
Okay.
He did his job.
Matt Doherty, 15 million quid.
Flop.
Don't even need to ask.
Højbjerg, 15 million quid.
Good signing.
One of the best signings Steve Hitchen ever made.
Good signing.
Serge Reguilon, 25 million quid.
Good signing.
Good signing.
Interesting. Joe Rodon, 11 million quid.
Flop.
Yep. Flop. Barely plays.
Vinicius on loan.
Flop.
Yep. Flop.
And Paulo Gazzaniga.
Flop.
Yeah. Didn't you have that one big mistake? Gazzaniga.
Oh, against Chelsea, I think it was.
Yeah.
He wasn't that bad. He came in for 4 months, didn't he? When Hugo Lloris broke his elbow or dislocated his elbow, and we still finished.
Actually, do you know what? Put a tick beside his name for a backup goalkeeper. He was actually all right.
Is that?
Yeah.
Oh, you're too easily swayed. He said. Okay, listen.
Like,
on that basis, we're giving him.
Sometimes I don't remember, and then like David reminds me, and like someone brings up other info. So, yeah, it's all like there's no like it's not like that black and white. Like hit or like flop. It's not that black and white usually.
So 6 winners, 12 flops, and 2 or 3 undecided. It's not.
This guy made 19 signings, Shawnee. 19.
Yeah.
And he got a lot more wrong than what he did.
Yeah. Right. Twice as many shit shows as.
You look at what 6
showstoppers.
of them. You look at 6, and even then with Bale and Gazzaniga, you could maybe say, they done a decent job, but did they bring what we needed them to bring? Probably not. But 19 signings and more than 10 of them wrong.
Yeah. Well, speaking about ratios of 6 to 12, or for every winner there's 2 losses, we can say exactly the same about Brighton's form against Tottenham. Right, so we're going to move forward now because we're behind schedule, and we're going to talk about I haven't even added it. I was going to have like a big Brighton versus Tottenham splash on the screen, but because I'm not ready, doesn't work out. All right, so just overall thoughts, Tottenham versus Brighton. Before we get into the formations, I have some formations up we can go to, and I've also got the page up where we can, if you don't agree with what I've done, then we can go into it. But just generally speaking, Isham, will come to you first. Tottenham versus Brighton. Talk me through it. What are your thoughts? What are your thoughts on the formation? What are your thoughts on the game overall? You know, Brighton losing one of their best centre backs, Tottenham having their players coming back. FA Cup under the lights at White Hart Lane, big game after 2 weeks off. What are your or 10 days off? What are your thoughts?
You know, Brighton can give anyone a game. They play some really excellent football. They play an exciting brand of football, and they follow the core tenets of modern day football. So I actually had some stats ready. You know.
Oh yeah, good crack. Yeah. Please do. Please read them out. Yeah, because my handwriting's useless.
So in terms of pressures per defensive action, or sorry, passes allowed per defensive action, PPDA. This is a very common stat. So the lower your PPDA, the more intensely you press, like up high.
Okay.
Right. So basically, like the people at top are like Leeds, Liverpool, Man City. They love winning the ball up high. Number 4 is Brighton. They press higher than Chelsea. Usually, it's the top teams that press really high because they want to win the ball back. They want to keep hold of possession. Brighton are 4th in the Premier League in terms of PPDA, 4th lowest. They press very high, and they press really hard. And I think we should worry because our defense is really poor on the ball. I don't know if Romero will be back. He might not start. He might come off the bench. But I know the likes of Davinson Sanchez and especially Tanganga can be massive liabilities with the ball at their feet.
Yeah.
Secondly, I wanted to bring up OPPDA. So this is very similar to PPDA, but this is opponent passes allowed per defensive action in the opposition half. This is a measure for how well a team plays out from the back. The top 2 teams, Liverpool are first. They have the highest OPPDA. They string together the most passes in their own half before a defensive action like a tackle or an interception or a block or anything like that. Number 2 is Man City. Obviously, the top teams, they like to build up from the back. They like to hold on to possession. Number 3 is Brighton.
Okay.
That's really surprising. Their stats, they play like a top team. They follow the tenets of modern football, playing out from the back, pressing high, and that's why they're overperforming so highly. That's why people rate Graham Potter as such a good manager, because he uses, I'm sure he knows about these stats. He uses these stats and he uses this data, and he tries to emulate how the top teams play, because that's the best strategy. Playing out from the back, pressing high. And Brighton do that, bloody well.
Okay, interesting. Is that the two main stats that you wanted to bring up?
Yeah, I have more, but I guess I'd let you guys talk as well.
It's all good. Well, so let me bring up. So it's interesting what you're saying, and I'll come over to Dave right now. So this is their recent form, right? So they lost the most recent game. They drew with Leicester City on the 23rd of January. Obviously, they drew with Chelsea as well, which is a great result for them. A ton of draws, right? They've got a ton of draws in their form. Beat West Brom in the cup. Before that, they beat Everton, but a real struggling Everton. Another draw with Chelsea. Beat Brighton. They lost to Wolves, who are a team on the up. Then our game gets back into December now, right? So therefore, they've got loads and loads of draws. And if we look at they're currently sat 9th, Dave. 22 games played, 6 wins, 12 draws. I think they've got the most draws in the entire league, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah,
by quite a way.
They've got
and they've only lost 4 times. So, what are your thoughts, man? Are we, are we going to struggle? Are we, I kind of had us down for a decent result until I looked into it a bit more carefully, and Brighton look like they're going to be a real tough nugget. But what are your thoughts?
You heard this here first, Shawnee. We score 2 goals, we win this game. It's over and done with. Brighton are not scoring 2. They will stay in the game. They'll get 1 goal, and that's why you see 12 draws so far in the Premier League. more draws than anybody else because they lack that second goal, that winner. They don't score too many. And for me, I just think, we score 2 goals, we win this game. Harry Kane, more than capable on his day. I think he's got, 11 goals in 11 FA Cup games as well, Harry?
Yep. Yeah. He's got amazing form. Yep.
So for me, I think we beat them. I can see why people are maybe a bit hesitant, but I think we have more than enough quality to be able to break these down twice and get the 2 goals to go on and win it. But I'll be honest with you, Sean. I mean, I don't like Brighton. I find them very boring. I find their kit boring. I find their stadium boring. I find their manager boring. When it comes to Harry Potter, all I keep hearing is imposter, 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 imposter. This guy, he wants to play like the top teams, this, that, and the other. That's all well and good. But what the fuck is he doing with his strikers at the club? Not one of them can find the back of the net, He's one of these people, he wants... Do you know what it is, Sean? He got a bit up and chewed out by the English game. He had to go to Sweden, learn his craft. He probably got a bit cold out there, wanted to come back, sit down by the seaside by Brighton, get a nice tan. But, he's such a try-hard. He's trying to be Pep.
You really don't like him, do you?
No. Just be you, Graham. Very, very boring.
Amazing. Yeah. What did he ever do to you? Did he make a pass at your mum or something back in the day?
No, lad, it's worse than that. I can accept that, lad. I can accept that. But when the Spurs job came about, all he was doing was going around like Billy Big Bollocks. You know what I mean? No, I'm staying here at Brighton. Well, I'm sorry, Tottenham are a much bigger club than your little shitty seaside town. You know what I mean? So you can stay down there, and we're going to rob you this weekend. I cannot wait. Honestly, as much as I hate Arsenal and Chelsea, just because this guy was given the big one when he was linked with the Tottenham job, it's going to give me so much satisfaction to beat them and watch them weep. Look, let's just quickly. Brighton will go all out for this. They will. They're safe from relegation. They have nothing to lose. They can go all out for this FA Cup. But it's time to say to Harry Potter, dry your eyes, mate. Tottenham are coming.
Okay, interesting. I never knew you had so much venom for a poxy team on the South Coast, but it's good. I love it, Dave. I'm excited. All right, buddy. All right, so let me just take a couple of seconds here to go through the comments. What they're saying. Ribsy85 saying Brighton pressing all the way to those draws. Yeah, I mean that's the thing. It's all very nice to have those statistics, but the only thing that matters really, if they could convert more goals or concede less. If you look at these, so they always seem to score, but they always seem to concede, right? And they conceded when they had their main centre back Burnsy in their 11.
Your best centre back,
and Lewis Dunk,
out for a while.
Yeah, I don't know if Lewis Dunk. I think Lewis Dunk is back because I put together this.
Yeah, I think he's back for this game, but he has been out for the last 2 or 3 games, I believe, if not more.
So would you agree with this? I haven't got the chance to. I mean, I just kind of put together their what I think would be their kind of 3-5-2 or 3-5-2 to a 3-3-2-2, however you want to look at it. It's just a kind of, so we're thinking Sanchez in goal, Veltman, Dunk, and Duffy in the back, Cucurella and Lamptey as the wing backs, with Basuma in the holding pattern, in the holding role, and then kind of fairly fluid front four of Moura, Lallana, Trossard, and Maupay. Obviously, Maupay being their out-and-out striker. What are your thoughts here? Am I missing somebody? Is this the formation that you would expect to see them put forward, or something like it? Or what are your thoughts there?
Well, lately they've been playing a 4-1-4-1, but if Dunk is back, I could see them reverting back into this. But, I think that's why Brighton are sort of a tough team to come up against. They have a lot of formations that they can play to. 5 at the back, 4 at the back. But, yeah, with Dunk back, I do expect them to play 5 at the back. Okay.
Dave, how about you, mate? Just look good to you, or are you thinking they'll play more of a 4-4-2? How do they play against Chelsea? Let's have a look.
I think they'll go with something similar to this, to be honest. Honestly, it doesn't matter what strikers you put up front. They couldn't hit a barn door with a bulldozer, so I wouldn't worry about that. In terms of Basuma coming back in, that's huge for them. Their main threats is Lamptey and Cucurella. Let's get this straight. You know, everything Cucurella, he's very energetic down that left hand side, and he's very skillful. You look at Lamptey, you know, same thing, very vast, very energetic. This game, it's up to us to get our wing backs to push them back. You know, whoever wins the wing back battles wins this game, in my opinion. The only thing they're missing is the stick of rock they seem to sell in every shop down by Brighton too.
Yeah. Interesting, man. Interesting. I mean, let us know in the thoughts if anyone else has got any other kind of formations. Izan thinks this might not be the one. It might be 4-1-4-1. I can share my screen and show that stuff. In fact, I might have to do that in a minute anyway, in case my formations that I put down as let's go to the thing that we really care about. We don't really care about them. So I've got a few different options here, and we can
excitement, Tottenham.
Yeah, let's get to stuff that really matters. So. Obviously, these names can all be swapped around, but this is obviously one formation that comes to mind, the 3-4-3. And I want to talk about, we can gently talk about this particular formation, this particular game. But then I also do want to ask you guys, and I'll keep this in the back of your mind, because of the way the squad now looks, we've got rid of 3 midfielders or 4 midfielders, and we've only brought 2 in, or 1 in really. We now have kind of 4 central midfielders. Does that leave us a little bit open if we wanted to play a defensive 3-5-2? Do you think the 3-4-3 is more likely to be seen a little bit more often now? And then we'll see combinations of either Skip and Højbjerg or Skip and Bentancur or Winksy and Højbjerg, etc. So this is one formation. Am I completely way off? Am I completely wrong? Do you expect to see Sonny start the game? Do you expect to see Romero? How do you see us lining up? Talk me through your reasons why. Dave, will go to you first and then come to Izhan second.
I think you will see this lineup. I really do. I do think you'll see the 2 in midfield. I think you've got it right with Højbjerg and Skip. I do not see Bentancur starting this game purely because his first training session with the team will be today. Only got the work permit last night, so I think you might see him probably on the bench. Look, obviously Harry Kane picks himself. Sonny, this one I'm not 100% sure on, Sean. You know, do you risk Sonny for the FA Cup game, or do you save him for the Southampton game midweek? You know, it's a big call, that one. Kulu, I think, starts this game. I actually think it could be Kulu and Lucas that start this game with maybe Sonny on the bench. Look, when you go to the wing backs, I think they pick themselves. Interestingly, Sean, you've gone with Romero. Remember when Jack had Romero, and I was saying, yeah, you bring him straight back in.
No, hang on, because I've also got other ones here. Oh no, I think he's in all of them. Oh no! Shit. Okay, yeah, fair enough. I put in Romero, but I mean, I don't think it's right to give him 90 minutes. As I did say at the start, I think that you could have Sanchez in. You could even put Doherty in if you wanted, and Sessegnon. I'm just kind of going for the formation with names. I'm open to any suggestions. I don't want to see Romero start. I think he's too long out. I'd like to see him get 20 minutes of match practice or 20 minutes of match fitness, and then maybe give him 45 minutes against Southampton or whatever. Bleed the guy in gently, because I just think it's so dangerous. And if he goes down injured, that's it. You know, top 4 is going to be a real problem, you know. So, so you think Romero's going to start? Do you, Dave?
No.
Do you know what?
Yeah.
I don't start in this game. I start him against Southampton.
Okay.
I think you start Sanchez and you bring Romero off the bench for maybe half an hour, ease him in, and then, you know, if once he has a good performance, because he will, you start him against Southampton then.
Izhan, will come to you, mate. How do you see this being the formation you'd like to see? You can swap the players out however you want. It could be Emerson, it could be Doherty, it could be. I think we all agree that Bentancur's probably not going to. I don't even know if he has his work permit yet. So
he has his work permit.
He does have the work permit now, does he?
Yeah.
Okay.
I can't see Romero starting, and I'd be really scared to see him start, especially because hamstring injuries are very likely to be recurring, and I'm pretty it's. There was a stat the second hamstring injury comes very within 3 weeks after recovery of the first one. So that's why I'm really scared for Romero. I don't want him to get injured again. So I don't want to see him start. I'd put Sanchez in there and bring Romero off the bench. and then start him in the Premier League game against Southampton. I also don't see Kulusevski starting. He's only had 2-3 training sessions with us. I don't think he really understands the formation. I think Conte will pick Lucas instead of him at the right. And even with Son, I don't see him starting. He's been out for nearly a month, so I think he'd go with Bergwijn instead, because Bergwijn has been performing relatively
That's interesting,
well
actually. Yeah, does Bergwijn deserve to be dropped just because we have another name up front and we've got Sonny back? That, again, what sort of message does that send? Although Bergwijn, what do you think about Bergwijn against Chelsea? He obviously wasn't as good as he was against Leicester, but I thought he was all right against Chelsea when we lost in that game. Do you agree?
Yeah.
Yeah, he was okay. Yeah, he was okay. So yeah, I could see him starting on the left and Lucas on the right.
Yeah, okay. Interesting. Ellie's saying Poxy seaside shower shit. There's a lot of alliteration there, Ellie. Very impressive. James is laughing at you, mate. Ribsy saying it's so weird still looking at Dyer and Davies at the back and thinking, yeah, that looks good. It's true, Ribsy. It's true.
Our standards have fallen.
Yeah, I know. Well, hopefully in the summer we can clear stuff out. Right, James is saying and he's near Brighton and he watches the game regularly. I reckon they'll play McAllister over Moura. He's a decent player.
He is.
Okay. The Bottom Duta saying, hi, The Bottom Duta, how are you, mate? He's saying, I believe he will go 4-3-3 or 4-4-2/4-2-4. It will be a disaster to see Royale. Is that about Brighton or is that about Tottenham, The Bottom Duta? I think that's about Tottenham, you're saying. So you think we'll go 4 at the back? So would that be Dyer, so Davies left back or Davies as a centre? How would that? That's interesting. Do you think we'll see 4 at the back, guys, or do you think we'll stick to the back 3?
I think the only reason why you've seen bits of 4 at the back is purely because you look at the defenders we've been using, we haven't exactly been spoiled for a choice. I think with Romero, with Dyer coming back, I think you revert back to the 3 at the back, in my opinion. Could be completely wrong. Conte might look to do 4 going forward, but I just think the only reason why you've seen that is purely because you look at the defenders we've been using, the defenders that the mistakes that they've been making. He's tried different things to try and knock the mistakes out of them, and I just think with Dyer and Romero coming back, you can go back to the 3 at the back, and you can have that solid foundation.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Do you agree, Izhan? Do you think there's any chance of seeing a 4?
Yeah, I agree with David. I think we'll get a 5 at the back. A 4-2-4 is completely out of the question. And a 4-4-2, I really don't see him playing as well. So yeah, I do see a 5 at the back. That's definitely Conte's preferred formation. And like David said, yeah, we only play 4 at the back when we don't have enough players and enough center backs.
Yeah, Ellie's saying save Son for the bench. Don't start him. She wants to see Kane, Kulu, and Bergie. It's interesting. Where's Lucas, Ellie? I thought you loved Lucas. You cheated on Lucas.
Lucas is in danger, though, of losing his spot. I mean, hear me out. Yeah. I mean, he's had a very good season. But the last 2 games, the Leicester game, the Chelsea game, he was completely anonymous. So he is in danger of maybe losing his place for a game if he doesn't book them ideas. So with Bergwijn, for me, I think it's clear what Conte sees him as. It's a striker. Ever since he's come to this club, he's always talked about him. Even in Europa Conference League games, that this guy is back up to Harry Kane. He's a striker. You've seen it against Leicester. Harry Kane was kind of dropping in a bit, and Stevie Bergwijn was the most focal point. He was the one going in behind. You've seen it against Chelsea. He played up top with Harry Kane.
Yeah.
Do I see him playing in a 3? I just don't. I see him back on the bench, to be honest.
Lucas or this is Lucas you're talking about, yeah?
Bergwijn, sorry.
Bergwijn, yeah. Okay. Well, what about when it comes to Lucas? Lewis 2705. Hey, Louis. I think it might be not Lewis. Louis. Nice to see you, man. Appreciate you stopping by. Love your avatar, by the way. It's very cool. He is asking about whether we're screwed at right wing back for the rest of the season. Let me get that up again. I keep clicking it twice because I'm deficient with my fingers. feel we are really scared at right wing back, or screwed at right wing back for the rest of the season. We are restricted to playing through the middle. Well, interesting. Do you think that there's a spot then? Dave, I'll come to you first and then go to Izang. Do you think that there's a chance that Lucas Moura, if his danger is under threat, if his position is under threat, do you think that he could adapt? You know, there was a lot of all the rumours about trying to get Adama in to do it. And I personally, you know how I feel, I don't think Adama's got the physique to be able to do lung-busting runs for 90 minutes, back and forth. I think that Lucas Moura's got a better stamina, you know, on him and can do the same turn, he's got run at pace. I think he's got all the attributes, just not the power, maybe. Do you think that Lucas could adapt his style and play a right wing back, or do you think he'd have too many problems defensively as well?
No, do you know what? Look, defensively, unless you're coming up against the bigger teams, City, Chelsea, Liverpool, you're not really asked to do much defending in this formation. You go back against them over the 9 games where we were unbeaten under Conte, that run where we were unbeaten. You know, we were on the front foot. We didn't need that sort of defensive player. For me, it's about picking your moments with this one. I think when you're going against teams that sit low block, you play Lucas Moura because I think he has all the attributes to be able to play out there. I think, you know, he's not a player that always relies on having to pass the ball inside and receive it back again. He can skin his man on the outside and go. I think when he gets into the final third, you know, again, he has that option. Does he want to cross it? He can also drive that player, skin that player. You know, and I think for against teams where I think we're going to have majority possession, they're going to sit back. You play Lucas Moura, and against the sort of the bigger teams for the defensive duties, I think you play Emerson because that's what Emerson is good at. Emerson is good at defending. You know, going forward, he's suspect. So against the teams where they're just going to let us put balls into the box, you play Lucas Moura, and I genuinely, and I've been saying this to some fans on social media the last few days. You know, I would be looking at maybe converting him over to that right wing back because you've got enough bodies now in them 4 positions: Kulu, Son, Bergwijn, Kane. You know, and if needs be, you can play Lucas there. But I think you should definitely be looking at the possibility of maybe playing Lucas at right wing back at some stage and seeing how it goes.
Interesting. Izan, how do you feel about seeing our boy Lucas in a number 2 shirt, technically, or the right wing back role?
It's a very interesting idea, to be honest, and I am for it. I think Lucas's extra pace can let him, you know, like hug the touchline and then blitz past everyone and really get into deep areas and whatnot. So yeah, I definitely could see Lucas playing that position, especially against teams like, you know, the Watfords and you know, the Burnleys that would love to sit back against us and play for the draw. But I think against Brighton, I think Emerson is just the better shout because Brighton will have the majority of possession, I feel. So we're going to have to do a lot more defending in this game.
You think Brighton are going to have more possession than Tottenham at home in the FA Cup?
Yeah, they play possession-based. We play more counter-attacking. I do think Brighton will have more possession than us.
That's going to really piss me off, that is. It's going to piss off Dave as well.
Hard watch.
It will be a hard watch. I can't wait for the watch along. I think, are we doing the watch along tomorrow night on your channel? Yeah. Make sure everyone gets over to the Irish Hotspur as well. I'll put the link in the chat shortly before Dave has to go in the next half an hour. But it's going to be a good game tonight. It's going to be a great game tonight.
Brighton have on average 56.1% possession in the Premier League, and we have 51.5%. So I think Brighton will have more of the ball.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, so are we all agreed then? So we're thinking we're going to play 3-5-2 or sorry, 3 like something like this.
Yeah.
But then we're thinking Romero doesn't start. We're going to have Sanchez in instead, and then Sonny we think he's also not going to start, and we're going to see Bergwijn or we're going to see Lucas, and then we're going to see a front 3 or more like a front 2 with Kane and Bergwijn, and then somebody sat in the hole, whether it's Lucas, whether it's. Let me get this formation up instead. Here we go. That kind of formation instead. But rather than Son, you'd rather see Bergwijn, Kane, maybe Kulu if he's ready. If not, maybe Moura. And then you'd have Emerson. Everything else looks pretty, and then maybe pretty safe apart from maybe Romero out and Sanchez in. Is that what we're thinking?
If you're going to play this one with Kulu sitting in the hole, it's very important you have someone that Harry Kane has belief in, that can get on the ball, turn and find them. Because if not, you're going to see Kane drop deep for the ball. And that's what you see sometimes in a Tottenham jersey. Because Kane is the very best passer on the ball and the very best finisher, he gets frustrated. He ends up dropping deep, picking up the ball himself, and then starts playing people in behind. So in order to stop Kane from doing that, you need someone that's going to that plays in that hole, that Harry Kane has faith in, that he knows when he makes them runs, he can be found in behind more often than not. If not, drop Kane into the hole and put Kulu up top.
Interesting. But do you think Kulu's going to start, though? Or do you think he's going to be a bench, come on for a standing ovation after 65 minutes when we're 2-0 up and he comes on and scores a worldie and becomes an instant cult hero?
Do you know what? I struggle to see both of them starting, to be honest with you, Bentancur and Kulu. Maybe Kulu doesn't start. Maybe he does come off the bench. But I'm going to put my neck out. I hope he starts. I want him to start. I'm a big believer in this Kulu guy. I've been a big fan for a number of years now. So I really do want to see him play. I really do. I want to see him start.
It'd be awesome. To get him. Give him the jersey straight away. I'm fucking pumped. I'm pumped. I can't wait, guys. I cannot wait. All right. So okay, we're gonna go through a couple of last chats, and then we're gonna get on to the last question before the financial stuff. As we've got 40 minutes before Dave has to go, and 5.5 hours before Izhan has to go. And then you know what happens on this channel. We could easily be still streaming at that point.
We might be cutting it close. We might be cutting it close.
Cody Mack is saying Bergwijn at right wing back for me. Better defensively in the final third than Lucas. Better than Adama at right wing back for me. What are your thoughts? Any chance? Do you like that idea, or you know?
I mean, I can see where he's coming from, because he's playing right wing under Jose Mourinho for about 4 months and offered absolutely nothing going forward. But defensively he was solid, and I think that's maybe where Cody's coming from with this opinion. And I can see it. I can't see it. I just don't think Conte has that vision for him.
Yeah, I have to agree. I think that over the last, we were all pretty frustrated with Stevie B over the last 2 years, and then we're now all like massive fans of his, but only because of the last couple of games, and it's where he's played striker, right? And he did the major. The successes that he had against Leicester, he couldn't have done that if he was right wing back, and he played pretty well against Chelsea despite our loss, but he couldn't have done that from right wing back as well. So I appreciate the comments, Cody. Cody. But I don't know if I'd have Bergie there. Lazy 8 saying he doesn't think Lucas has the crossing ability. Emerson certainly doesn't. I don't know who does. We haven't got very... What are we supposed to do? Someone's got to be there.
God knows. It is actually alarming on how little crossing ability we have from that right hand side. Like, even if you take out Emerson, put in Doherty, I mean, the guy wouldn't cross a road. You know what I mean? You put Lucas there. Again, Nick does raise a good point. Does he have the crossing ability? It is alarming from that right hand side. The lack of the lack of crossing ability is quite alarming.
Yeah. I agree. Potomac saying 8 points from a 27 without Son. Are we guilty of casually ignoring his importance, or do we have any kind of reason to feel like his form has dropped this season? He hasn't been the Sonny of previous seasons, is he? I mean, I can't remember the last time. I know he scores a couple of goals here and there, and he ticks over, but I don't think his first touches against a lot of the teams we played against recently have been useless. Izhan, are we ignoring his importance, or are we? I mean, I don't think any of us. I think we all love Sonny and appreciate how much he brings to the team, but he's obviously injured as well, coming back from an injury. What are your thoughts to Potomac?
I mean, I don't think anyone doesn't appreciate Son. Like, we always miss him when he's gone. It's very noticeable when we don't have him and we have someone else playing in his position. But yeah, he's not been at his at his peak this season. But like I said, I've said this before, like, you can't doubt Son. You can't doubt a player of that caliber. He's gonna come good eventually, and maybe adjusting to the new system been kind of difficult, but Son will come good. I have no worries. I have no doubts at all.
And just to add to that, what I will say is even though he has been off the boil compared to last season's stats. You know, you look at Kane, he's the same. Off the boil compared to last season's stats. But with Sonny, even though he's been going through a bit of a period before he got injured where maybe he wasn't playing the best, what he was doing, what he never usually done, and this comes with age, is he was still scoring. He was still scoring through that bad spell. You know, even though he wasn't playing the best and things weren't working out, he was still getting a goal, still getting an assist. And that comes with the experience, that comes with the age. And I wouldn't be too worried about Sonny. I really wouldn't. I actually think him and Kane are going to have a phenomenal back end to this campaign. I really believe it.
Yeah. Well, time will tell. Time will tell with Sonny. Time will tell with the rest. I think we're up to date with the comments. Even man saying hi all. Hi mate, haven't seen you before, or female, lady or gentleman. I'm not sure who that is, but either way, appreciate your stopping by. 55 people in the chat, guys. Always got to just ask a quick one. If any of you haven't already liked and subscribed to my channel, then it would mean the world to me. Just give the little buttons a little rubber tub for me. And obviously, Ishan's got his Instagram account that we're going to get to that. What is the name of it, Ishan, whilst we're here?
It's literally the same as my YouTube. It's Ishan Khan 22.
There you go. Anyone who's interested on Instagram, I don't get on Instagram, but anyone who's on that wants to follow Ishan with all of his football stats and tactics, you can find him there.
I don't post. You can message me though. You can message me.
Oh, there you go. Yeah. Or if you're interested in seeing what Ishan had for dinner last night when he took a photo. But you won't find anything about Tottenham on there. But that's where you can find him, and also the Irish Hotspur. You can find me with the Irish Hotspur all the time on his channel at Irish Yids. At Irish Hotspur. What's your Twitter channel, Dave? As well, is it Irish Yid?
Oh, the Irish Y. Yeah.
The Irish Y.
So I was called the Irish Yid, but then some people were complaining to me over the use of the word Yid, so I just said for the sake of the long run, I change it. So I changed it.
We're going to put the links up soon. But listen, I do want to move on, guys. We've got 35 minutes before Dave has to go, or 20, maybe half an hour before Dave has to jump off. So I do want to turn now to this Tottenham Hotspur Supporters Trust released last night. And I basically got some screen. Let me just get the link from where it is. Here we go. Anybody who's interested, it's a really good read. It's not too long. It's not too complicated. Tottenham Hotspur Supporters Trust. It's in the chat now. You can go and read through all of the financial statements. It's basically a summary of the 3 years, the last 3 years, and then they take all the information within it, and then they kind of analyze and kind of factor in variables like COVID, and they talk about it in quite a really kind of nice, logical way. And then they come out with sort of suggestions of where we are financially and where we need to be in order to kind of whether there's money available over the next summer or the next 12 months. And I read through it late last night, and I've just got a couple of screenshots that we're gonna go through, right? Rather than going through the individual thing, let me start with the profits, right? So, so as you can see, just for example's sake, this is the year 2019 over on the far right, 2020 to June 2021, which was the most recent financial report. And obviously anything that was in there happened before June 2021. It didn't capture anything that's happened this season. It hasn't captured any of the signings that we made. It doesn't account for things like Romero, Brian Hill, Emerson Royale. Certainly doesn't account for Kulusevski or Bentancur. It doesn't account for any of the loan transfers we've gone out. But it does talk about the sorts of money that Tottenham have made in revenue and the sorts of costs that we have based on various different departments of the balance sheet, right? And so I don't want to spend I won't go into too much detail, but I'll probably do an entire show on this maybe over the weekend after the Brighton game if anyone wants to join there. But this is just kind of to get Dave's and Ishan's thoughts on it, and I'll kind of give you my take as well as we go through it of how important it is and what the difference is between finishing top 4, top 6 and getting the Europa League, or 7th and getting into the Conference League, or not finishing there at all. And so this obviously factors in. So in June of 2019, right, we were this was, I think, our first. We spent a little bit of that year at Wembley, and a little bit of the year at White Hart Lane. And obviously, June 2020 was the first year we had at Tottenham in the new stadium. Then, from the year 20 to 21, because of COVID, we only got 2 million quid out of. I think that was off the one game, basically that one game that was held there. And then estimated this year is 115 million quid. Now that factors in things like, it's already factoring in the fact that we're not quite at full capacity. And I'll just caveat the whole thing by saying that they don't have the actual numbers. They have made their assumptions and their suggestions based on the information that they've got. They then sent it to Tottenham to say, are we way off on anything? And then Tottenham came back and said, well, this needs to be tweaked a little bit here, a little bit there. And so they think that they're fairly reasonably close, within like a standard deviation of maybe 5-10%, something like away from where they from where they should be. But they don't actually have any accurate details of the estimates of the cash flow, because why would Tottenham ever do that? But the interesting thing that I wanted to point out, right, is that our revenue last year, our revenue this year is estimated to be about 440 million, based on TV and media, which I think, this is based on the fact that we're out of the Conference League, right? And now the FA Cup is the only variable. Everything else is already factored in. UEFA prize money, if you can see the difference between 8 million for doing Sweet FA in the Conference League. These 2 years we were in the Europa League. One of them we did quite well. The other one we did really badly. And then obviously in June 2019 was the year we got through to the final of the Champions League, right? So what you can make assumptions from this particular statistic is that if you go on a Champions League run, you're going to get somewhere between 100 million, between sort of 60 million and 110 million, depending on how far you get. If you get to the group stages, you'll get about 60 million. If you get to the kind of knockout stages and then into the final, you'll get somewhere between sort of 70 or 60 and 120. I think if you go all the way, you get an extra bumper package for when Liverpool beat us. They would have made 120 million that year. Also, even though the TV and media money look similar between this particular year and this particular year here, that's just because of inflation and because of the more money that's coming into it. If we manage to qualify for the Champions League, our TV and media money would be about 220 million.
Wow. Fuck.
Right, so you get about an extra 60 million. But if you get to the Europa League, it's only about an extra 25 million, right? 20 million. So we got 140. Most of that's from Sky, a little bit from BT because of the Conference League, but no one cares about that. The revenue you get from that is irrelevant because barely anyone's watching it. If you can get to the BT Sports for the Champions League, like I say, it grows significantly. So they're factoring in a 443 million pound, give or take, like a 10% kind of wiggle room. But they're factoring in that based on us just finishing the season wherever, right? What we need to do, if we manage to finish top 4, you could essentially add about 150 to 200 million to that figure. So that would take you to 600 million to 650 million based on a massive increase in TV and media money, a massive increase in UEFA prize money, and a massive increase in match receipts, because you're going to have at least another 5 or 6 games that are played at White Hart Lane, at the Tottenham Stadium. Plus, they're going to be full capacity, right? So the range for match receipts now is about 100. They reckon it's between 100 and 120 million. They've kind of estimated, and all the detail is in the devil's in the detail. I've just taken the screenshots, so there is the context and the writing that I'm not showing you. But if we were to finish top 4, that number would go up as well. So overall, I'm predicting that if we finish just kind of where we're going to finish, they're going to put us down as 443 million for next season. But I actually think that it would be far higher than that, up to about a maximum of about 650 if everything was to go well and we were to finish 4th or 3rd, qualify for the Champions League, do well in the Champions League, not just finish in the knocked out in the group stages. So everything really depends on getting to top 4. I know that's not a shock, right? It's really not a shock, but here's the thing you have to factor in. Just bear with me for a second. Our staff costs are £210 million a year. That's not factoring in the loans we've just made, the savings we're going to make on Ndombele and getting rid of Lo Celso and that stuff. It's not factoring that in. It's not factoring the cost of Kulusevski and Bentancur, and it's not factoring in any of the players that we signed already. But at 210 million, our match day receipts do not even cover 55% of our overall costs, our major cost. This £120 million other operating costs comes to, I think 50% of that is because of the cost of running the stadiums during the games. So the way you can figure that out is during this season, like the costs are pretty standard, 110, 106, 120, not too much difference. But obviously last year, the cost was half as much as this year was. And that's obviously the only major difference between last season and this season is the fact that there was no one at the ground, right? So when you're looking at the other operational costs, about 50% of that figure comes from the cost of running the games, the policing costs, the staffing costs at the stadium, all of the costs of whatever else is going on, security and all those things. So am I making sense so far, or am I rambling through?
No, makes sense.
Keep going.
Okay. So if I then pivot to costs, I'm just gonna. I don't know how to zoom in here, but for this particular, I'm not sure I can zoom in. This particular point, you have to look. These numbers are reversed. So 2019 is the first year, and on all the other stuff, they've got it the other way around. It should be 2021 here and 2019 here. But where I want you to focus on, just bearing in mind that our salaries are twice as much as the amount of money you get from the matchday receipts before you factored in all the other costs as well. But on top of that, Tottenham have a net player trading deficit of 150 million, which basically means that we still owe 151 million pound to clubs for players that we bought before last year. That's not including what we've already paid. Sorry, it's not including Romero. It's not including Kulusevski. It's not including Bentancur or Emerson Royale. I think that these people are going to be Reguilon. They're going to be Ndombele, Lo Celso, maybe a slice of Sanchez. Right? I don't know who else. Maybe some Højbjergs thrown in there. Right? People that were signed in the last 3 or 4 years that we're still paying off. And the way that this number is calculated, it's just an amortization. Can't say the word. Amortization, accounting kind of account balance technique where you essentially say what was the entire cost of the transfer, and we're going to pay it off every year, divisible by the amount of years of the contract. Doesn't include the salaries. So we still owe 150 million pound on players that we've already signed and then kicked out of the club, which is why it's so important that if Ndombele has a worldie in France, then we can try and recoup some of this money and get this number down, right? But why this is so important? I think we only owe 15 million pound of it. Oh, sorry, we owe 56 million pound of it this year. So by the end of this year, we have to have paid 56 million pound of that 150, and then we owe about another 113 over the next couple of years, 2 years out, 3 years out, whatever it might be, right? The reason why that is so important, and guys in the comments, stop me if I'm confusing anybody. Oh, why has that gone sideways? Let me turn this way instead.
Oh, it was good for a second.
Can you turn it? Can you turn it? I don't know if you can turn it.
Don't think so.
No.
Did you upload that onto a presentation, Shawnee, or?
I just added it as a bollocks.
Oh.
So annoying. All right, so in a nutshell, right? What happens is, I'll see if I can read it this way. But in a nutshell, when you factor in all of the money that we're going to bring in, all from what's already factored in, the match receipts that are predicted to be 120 million, the UEFA prize money of this year, which is 8 million, all of the costs, the TV is 140 million, the commercial interests, 180 million, and commercial interest also includes things like the NFL games, all that stuff, right? Then basically our total revenue is 443 million. The operating costs were about 320 million, which left us with an operating profit of 115 million. But when you factor in all of the transfer costs that we have going out and the interest on the debt, which is 25 million quid a year, plus all the capital expenditure, which is another 20 million pound a year. In a nutshell, this year, despite having a great stadium and doing all the things we have, all we're going to have left over is £14 million as a profit.
That's shocking.
That is, so we're still like, we can make ends meet being a non-European club. Like we can just about, if we could finish 7th, 8th, 9th, we can just about make ends meet, but there is no money available unless you want to go into debt to buy new players. Right? The only way that we're going to be able to get those players in, and whilst we're paying 25 million quid off on the stadium every year for the next 20 years, whilst we've also got our capital expenditure, which is essentially paying the last, like the few remaining years of payments on the stadium that haven't already been done for contracting and that sort of stuff. I won't bore you with that details, but in a nutshell, for Tottenham to have the bumper pay packet that we need, two things either need to happen. One is they need to have this appetite to be able to continually spread the cost of future transfers over the future years of the contract. And I don't know, I'll be honest with you, I don't know if that is just a common thing. I don't know if you were to look at Arsenal's balance sheet, whether they would also owe 200 million or 150 million on players that they've signed that they haven't yet paid off.
Oh, this has been common since the 90s, lad.
This is common. It's like called paying in installments. This is very common. It happens all the time.
But whilst it's an accounting thing to write it down as amortization, in reality, like we don't know whether Leon has allowed the 60 million to be paid off, 10 million a year for 6 years. Leon might have said, no, we want 30 million up front and then 5 million here over the next 5 years or whatever. So you don't know. So even though it's an accounting technique to write it down every year, you don't know what the reality is of how the actual terms were structured in the deal. But in a nutshell, guys, like if we all want this big bumper payout, it's entirely dependent on top four. I know that sounds like what's the summary, the conclusion? I don't know if this is going to come out the right way either. Oh, it's not. Crying out loud! It's a disaster. But the way that these guys kind of conclude it, they're saying that assuming there's no further lockdowns, that the club's financial position is basically sound, but it's based on the structure of its debt for the long term, which isn't a problem, right? Qualification for the Champions League will make a massive difference to our bottom line, a massive difference for us to be able to buy the players that we want. But they actually presume that qualifying for the Europa League doesn't actually make that much of a difference. And it's on a sliding scale. It depends how far you go. If you get into the Europa League and you go all the way and win it, then it will add about 60 or 70 million. If you get knocked out of the group stages again, then it's probably going to add about 15 million to your coffers. Not much more than you get from the Conference League, right? So in a nutshell, like everything that we need to do, I mean, I don't necessarily agree with the key conclusions. The last thing is that the club's net transfer spend has increased significantly in the last 3 years. Well, we know that because of Ndombele, Lo Celso, and Reguilon, for example. But I personally think that it's so important that we can get some of the wages off the book. Like for me, the number that's insane is the fact that we spend £210 million a year on salaries, and yet the stadium that we built that was supposed to deliver so much more revenue coming, and it does bring in a lot of revenue, but it's not even 55% of the total salary bill. And so it's starting to shape my argument even more, on my perspective, that you don't want 25, 26 players in your team that are getting paid 200 grand a week, because then your bill is going to become 300 million, 350 million, right? It's going to be too much for the state. Like, you can't make ends meet unless you qualify for the Champions League. And if you go and qualify for the Champions League this season and you get there for 1 year and then you go, oh shit, we've now got an extra 100 million in the kitty. So then you go and buy a couple of superstars at 50 million quid each. That money's spent. They're going to get paid 10 million pound a year as their salary. And then if the next season you don't qualify for the Champions League, you're screwed, because your revenues come way back down to where they are currently, but your wage bill is 100 million pound more than it was last year, or 30, 40 million pound more than it was last year. And so I don't think necessarily. I'm starting to think that for me, it means we need to have 5 or 6 players, 7 players in our team that are class, that are out of this world. But we need to have a blend of people coming through from the academy
Yes.
to keep things balanced, because we're not in a position where we can guarantee top four every year. Even if we get there this year and then we overspend and then we don't get there next year, we find ourselves in a real fucking pickle, you know? And the last thing I'll say before I hand over for your thoughts on it is, as much as people don't like Daniel Levy, I think that and say it talks about the highest priced tickets in Europe and the cost of a beer, the cost of a coffee, and all the things that annoy everybody. I hope you guys will go away and read through this detail so that you can understand it as well for when we have more developed conversations in the coming days and weeks. That, you know, it's super hard to make ends meet when you have players, when you have a wage bill as high as we do. And the last thing I'll say is that the COVID-19 could not have happened at a worse time for us. That 100 million that we lost last year in matchday revenue, when we had all those transfers to pay off, we haven't paid off, plus the salary bill, the high, and also the interest and the capital expenditure on the stadium. COVID happened at the worst possible fucking time for Tottenham, and I think Daniel Levy's done a really good job to keep everything stable, considering those factors. As much as he's frustrating.
Do you know what, Sean? I'll just come in on this quickly, because then I do have to go. Look, for me, I can get what you're saying. You know, when it comes to like the revenue and maybe that's why Daniel Levy's charging more on the food and beverage, because of this, you know the 7% hike and stuff like that. But I still do not agree with charging the fans for their mistakes. I do not agree with that. You know, I can see why they're trying to up the prices, because they need the revenue and stuff like that. But the reason why they're doing it is because of their failings in the transfer. That's why we have. That's why you were saying there we have such an extraordinary high wage bill and stuff like that. The problem is it's about the recruitment. You don't have to have every player on 200 grand a week, although that is the way football is going. And at some stage, someone's going to have to step in, because if the players keep demanding more, the clubs are giving it to them to get them, then the fans are going to keep paying more. And that's just the way it's going to keep going and keep going, keep going. So something is going to have to come in the very near future and kind of cap that a bit. But you don't need players, every player on 200 grand a week. You just need players that are capable of doing what they're doing. Our scouting has to be better. If our scouting was better, our players coming through the academy was a lot more. You know, this club would be unbelievable. You wouldn't be in this situation. But the reason why the academy hasn't produced any players of late is purely because of the players that we brought in, put on big money, bought in for big money, put on big money, haven't performed. They've been clogging up the players coming through from the youth season. And look, with them accounts there, that's why you've seen Paratici be brought in here, Sean. Spurs can't keep losing out in the transfer market. We can't keep buying 3 players and one of them only being good. You can't keep offering the wages we're offering them to come here. And you can't keep blocking up the scouting department. Apparently the scouting department is in that much of a mess. You know, Paratici's ripping the whole thing up and more or less start from scratch on it. Look, in terms of making top 4, no business model should ever be based on making that top 4. But unfortunately, we're going to need to this year. You look at that, it is a bit worrying. You look at it, I think we will need to get top 4. But as well, no wonder why you're seeing the deal structured the way we're structuring them. You know, in terms of Romero not being paid up until this summer. Probably only half it. The rest we paid over installments. Kulu, banter, stuff like that. That's why you're seeing the deal structured the way they are, because we, like, a lot of times when you look at that, we can't afford just to come in straight away and go, you know, there's 50 million. That's why we keep kicking it down the line, because we need to recoup something back for Lascelles. So we need to recoup something back for an end on Bele in order so that then we have money there ready just to go and spend. Look, with the end on Bele deal, and what I will say is I know we still owe Leon money for the end on Bele deal, but my hope is that we still owe them a substantial amount, saying around 30, 40 million.
Yeah.
So therefore, technically, the buyback clause, they're only going to pay 20, 25 million, not 40, 45. They're just going to write off what we actually owe them.
Yeah, which is fine with me. 100% that's fine with me. Get that number down, 155 million. If he does anything, and we can just go knock 35 off that number, it makes it easier to spend. Like it's insane. It's insane, that number to me, Dave, is absolutely mad. And things like Paratici coming in and organising that deal, like I didn't realise how important it was. And if there's any truth to it, and if Leon do come in and buy or whatever, or write off the debt we owe them, I mean, it puts us in a much stronger position. No,
100%. But yeah, look, it's concerning. It is concerning. It's worrying. It's kind of like you look at the summer. If we don't make top four, where's the money going to come from to be able to go and buy in the summer and act on the good work we've already done this window? It is concerning. And just quickly, Mr. Robarda says, who from the academy should have been given a chance that didn't get it? I mean, look, you look at Nono Madueke, who Spurs have been linked with. The reason why he left Tottenham is because he backed himself to be good enough for first-team football, or at least been given a chance to prove that he can make first-team football. Went to PSV. All of a sudden, Spurs are looking at him, and you're looking at 30, 40, 50 million for this guy. You look at Dennis Serkin. He left Tottenham. Tottenham were trying to sign him up on a new contract. The player that is going to be a very good left-back. He left purely because he wasn't getting games in cup games.
There's a buyback clause, though. For Serkin, there's a buyback clause.
Yeah, that's not too bad. You look at the guy we just let go of this season, Markandi.
Dylan Markandi.
Left because we couldn't offer him any sort of games to be able to prove he's good enough for the first team. And the list goes on and on and on and on. It's happening all the time. And the reason why they couldn't get game time is purely because when you look at the cup games, we were rolling out in them Belly, Lo Celso, Ali, hoping we can get them to turn the corner every single time. And then, therefore, it wasn't happening. So even if these guys were on the bench for the cup games, they couldn't even get on the field. We have to bring on Kane, Højbjerg, and all the time. So there was no game time for them to prove to any manager that, hang on, I can stake a claim for a place here. But, yeah, look, in terms of everything, I mean, the finances are worrying. And look, that's why I'm glad we have Sean to speak us through it a lot of times, because honestly, I was trying to read it last night and I was giving me a headache. So it was. But look, Sean, I do have to bounce, my man.
Yep. Yeah. I'm gonna put your chat into the Irish Hotspur guys is in the chat. But Dave, talk us through your channel. Where can everyone find you? I'm sure everyone knows.
You can find me over at the Irish Hotspur alongside Jack and alongside Sean. A lot of people seem to enjoy it lately. So, if you want to be one of them, just get over there and smash that subscribe button as well. If you love Harry Kane the way I do, it's definitely your home. It's definitely your home. But Shawnee, thanks very much for having me. I really enjoyed it, my man.
You're an absolute star. Izhan, hang around. We're gonna continue on to hear your opinion. But Dave, thank you so much for stopping by. And everybody, please make sure you check out the Irish Hotspur. I know everyone already knows him very well. Dave, I'll see you tomorrow for the game day. Game day!
Absolutely buzzing. I can't wait to wake up and hear that, my man. It's game day. I cannot wait. But look, there's loads of people in the chat. There's surely someone there that come on and take my place. But look,
yeah. I'm gonna put the chat. Here's the StreamYard chat. Hang on. Looks like I signed out. That's weird. No, StreamYard chat's in the comments, guys. Anyone wants to come in and to join me and Izhan as we talk a bit more about the finances and anything else that comes up. There's no definitive finishing time apart from in about 4.5, 5 hours time. Izhan's got a dentist appointment. So
Irish Hotspur, over and out.
Cheers, Dave. See you, mate.
See you, Dave.
All right, Izhan, thanks, man. Thanks for sticking by, buddy. So what are your thoughts, buddy? Like, what are your thoughts on the finances? Champions League is pivotal. Without it, we're fine. Yeah. We still can survive and be slightly profitable, but I don't know if the money's going to be there. It's a lot hinging on the next 4 or 5 months.
Yeah, and one thing these financials really go to show is how unsustainable of a business football is. Like, owning a football club, there's not really profits in it. It's usually like the board that is injecting money into the team to be successful. And, fans have very little patience. They have all the demands in the world, right? So fans are like never satisfied unless like a Sheikh Mansour like from Man City comes in with endless amounts of money and just keeps tossing it at the club. And it's a very scary direction that football is going because, like even last year's Champions League final was Chelsea and Man City, which is like the two
Yeah.
oil money clubs. They don't care about sustainability. Like us as Tottenham, we don't have these oligarchs with infinite oil money tossing in hundreds of millions. So yeah, like that's one thing I wanted to consider, or like that I found very intriguing. And another thing was that I checked up on our wage bill, and it is actually pretty high. So
Yeah.
first in the Premier League is Man City, obviously. Second, United. Third is Liverpool. Third is Chelsea. Fourth is Liverpool. Fifth is Arsenal. And sixth is Tottenham. And seventh is Everton. At least we're not Everton, but...
Well, this is what worries me about Everton. I think Everton are...
perfect example of what could go wrong.
Yeah. And listen, I like Everton as a football club. I think they've got nice. I've got a lot of friends that are Everton fans, and they've been around since day one. And if they were to go down, I genuinely think that they would be. I don't know how they would survive. I don't know how they survive. It's a terrible thing. Yeah, I mean,
yeah.
So you're saying Tottenham are sixth? Are we just behind Arsenal?
Yes, just behind Arsenal. We're sixth. Our wage bill for the 20 this is last year. I don't think this year's have been published. This year it says 150 million pounds wage bill, and then Arsenal are 175 million pounds, and then Everton are seventh, 114 million pounds.
Where's that statistic? Is that from this year or
last year?
Last year.
It says 2021/2022, but it's like some of it is estimated because we don't know yet. Like some clubs' financials aren't like published.
Yeah. Okay. Well, look, I mean, Sorry,
but our transfer expenditure in the past 10 years. So from 2011/12 season till now. So number one is United, number one Man City at 1.5 billion euros. Pounds, 1.5 billion in the last 10 seasons. Chelsea are second, so like the two oil money clubs.
Yeah.
Third is United, 1.34 billion. Fourth is Liverpool, 977 million, or 977 million. Yes. Sorry. Okay. And then Arsenal are shortly like behind Liverpool, 968 million. And then there's a huge gap. We're sixth, and it's 797 million. So Arsenal are fifth, 968 million, and then Tottenham are 797 million. And then seventh is Everton, once again, 695 million that they've spent in the last 10 years.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like I say, Izan, we're gonna bring in someone else now, who's I'm not sure of the intro. I need to get this Will Stewart kind of style of like bringing in. Everyone's got their own theme tune before they come in. When they come in, da 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 da. But you know what? All I can do is say this is the man who takes Will Stewart's channel and takes it in his own direction on a Tuesday night, ladies and gentlemen. It is the one and only Mr. K. How are you, buddy?
Not too bad, guys. Thank you very much for it's a bright sunny day. The sun's right in my
in your eye. Yeah.
Let's see if I can put a bit of a shade there a little bit. Yeah, well, I don't know. That's not worked out. Maybe I need to move around a little bit. But don't worry. Listen, guys, thank you very much for having me on the show. I've been listening to your show since the beginning. There's been a couple of streams on earlier today, but yours has definitely been the most entertaining.
Oh, I appreciate that.
Thanks a lot.
There you go.
It's all about the guests. All about the guests.
There you go. It's all.
The eyes are still fucked.
The host making everyone feel welcome.
Well, I'm trying. Last night was a real insight into what's possible with some technology and some interesting audio.
There's a lot possible. It's all about trying to use the technology that you currently have to maximize the use of it, and then adding a few trinkets to your arsenal.
Yeah.
But there's so much for you to learn because there's so many other things you have to master as well. Like what's happening with the comment section, where the topic areas are moving to.
Baby steps with me, Mr. K. I'm still trying to figure out how to
there's an awful lot of people watching right now. Listen, all of you guys out there, and all you ladies out there, and all of you in between, please do like this channel. Right? Give it a thumbs up. Yeah, go down below. Give it a little subscribe. And if you can, write something in the comment section. Let us know what you're feeling. How do you feel about this weekend's match?
100%.
Let us know.
All right, Mr. K, where do you want to take it? Do you want to talk about the finances, or do you want to talk about Brighton? We can go any direction you guys want to go into. I think quickly the finances and summary, guys, before we go any further. I know we only had 15 minutes, and there's a lot more to chew in to digest. I will do a different show about that where it's all about that, but that will come very shortly. But I'm happy to go wherever you guys want to go. And anybody else who's in the link is in the chat. If anyone wants to join, it's a free-for-all now. We can have 10 people on or stick with the 3. It's all good. Anyone wants to come and say hello. But Mr. K, where do you want to take it? Over to you, my friend.
I think the viewing audience has heard enough of the financing for a while. Let them digest that information and then give them some more next time that they come back. And hopefully if you reinforce what you've already said, then that repetition will start to sink in. They'll start to recognize the pattern of where the numbers are, and then it'll start to make sense because you're versed with tables and so forth. You're able to quickly navigate what that information means. But the viewing audience out there, I
didn't do a very good job. I didn't do a good job.
No, you did an excellent job. Trust me. Don't underestimate what you're capable of.
It was a good, quick summary. It gave us a really good idea with a lot of context of the financials. Yeah, it was good.
Definitely.
Let me, Mr. K, before we take it where you want to go, we've got another guest coming in. Just want to introduce him. He made his debut. On the Irish Hotspur on Monday night, and he absolutely blew everybody away. It's Nick from America. It's Kane, the long shot.
Kane.
Hey,
you got to put your camera on, buddy. You got to put your camera on.
So unfortunately, I am working, so no cam, unfortunately, on this.
You're calling in from
all I have is audio. Yeah, in the office. I'm using my computer, but no camera.
Choose an avatar to go on the picture though, so we can recognize you on a regular basis if you come like that.
Yeah. We'll change the picture. All right, before we get to Kane to see what he wants to talk about, Mr. K, you were first. Take it away. What would you like to talk about? Brighton formations.
I think we've got a run coming of 3 games.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so they're pretty much like half a week each. So, I think that's the direction we need to have a quick little look at because that's what we're currently immediately dealing with. It's the games really. It's what's happening with our players. Are these new players going to come in and they're going to be used as subs? Is someone going to chuck them on at the beginning, break a leg or something? I don't think so. I think they're going to be put into sub for a start. That'd be the most sensible thing to do. There's no way a midfield player can suddenly fit into our system and start running things. He's going to take a long time to do that. The guy up front, Kulusevski, he could hit the ground running because he has that freedom of being at the front and he already knows how to grab the ball and put it in the back of the net. But it's that midfield position with Benteke. There's a lot of intelligence that he's going to have to learn, right? Okay. About the game, about the Premier League game, about his teammates and so forth, and the way the Conte wants him to play. So that's going to take a bit longer. But as far as this weekend is concerned, we've got the firepower. And Brighton has got the ball moving around and keeping the retention of the ball. That's what they've got. They're very good at it. They can do it better than Chelsea, and Chelsea can do it better than us. So it stands to reason that we're going to have to hit them on the break a few times. And we're exceptionally deadly on the break. So I feel our chances here. I feel like that we could really turn one over because I think there's a good feel factor, especially with new blood coming into it. You got Kane getting closer and closer and closer to his best. Sonny, of course, he's been a bit of a, he's had a bit of a blip, I call it.
Yeah.
And I think that while he's been away, luckily he got injured, so therefore his blip can be ignored for the time being. He can look at the rest of the team and say, you know what? Kane's playing all right. Kane feels like he's back. Because I definitely felt that Kane and Sonny were a little bit, they weren't exactly clicking with each other. And you need them to click if you definitely want to make top 4. Fact and point. Without Sonny, no top 4. That's it really in a nutshell. But the 3 games running, it means that Conte is going to have to keep an eye on the other 2 games in terms of who he's playing.
Okay, so what do you want? What's your formation then? Do you want? Is Brighton? It's the cup, right? It's the cup. Does the cup matter more to you than the league? Where do you prioritize it? And how do you think?
I think in Conte's mind, 100% he's going for the cup.
Oh, okay, interesting.
Right. See, the thing is, I've observed about Conte, right? Yeah, is he won't say any type of ambitions. He doesn't say expectations. I expect us to finish here, or I expect us to finish this. He's just saying, I want the team to be steady. I don't want the crazy game of up and down, where one match you're playing great, next match you're playing like shit, and in the middle of a match you're going up and down as well. So he doesn't like crazy games. He doesn't like crazy behavior from the players. So he wants a consistency, but he's a winner. Right, he's bringing 2 players in from Juventus who know about winning. They've also got discipline. They've got the type of training that Juve puts them through. They've been playing a lot of games before. Fair enough, Kulusevski's been injured for the last, I think, 6 months or something. Played only a few games, and that unfortunately was an ACL injury. So keep an eye out for that. That could be another Lo Celso. Okay. But yeah, I think as far as formation is concerned, right? Yeah, you either got a simple, straightforward choice of your 3-4-3 variations, right? Either 3 across the top, 1 striker, 2 people behind him, or maybe 2 up front and then 1 behind him, like a number 10. Or alternatively, he goes for the old 3-5-2 and says, you know what, Brighton, I know you can pass the ball. Try to get through our midfield. Go on, try it. We'll pick you off and we'll hit you on the counter with our 2 very fast attacking forwards. Now, that attacking forwards, I don't know whether Sonny can come straight back.
Who do you want those to be? Do you want them to be Kane and Sonny?
Ideally, like Kane and Son, but I don't think Son's ready for it. I think he needs a bit of warming up to do. So it's going to be Kane and may possibly be Bergwijn.
Yeah, right, I think you got. I think if you were Bergwijn and you got dropped, I think you'd be
get miffed, man. Your confidence will get knocked.
Yeah,
Yeah. And the manager's been saying lots of nice words about Bergwijn. So you said it, now back it up. You give me a few minutes at the end of that game. Now I'd like to start a game. And the thing is that Conte is a loyal guy to his players. So therefore, if a player shows loyalty to him, then he'll show loyalty back. He said, look, I gave you a chance. You proved it. Now I have to really turn around and decide either Moura is going first or you are. Because it's only a choice between those 2. Right?
Okay.
It's either Moura or Bergwijn. And like I said, if they do a 2 up front, it makes sense. If they have a Sonny involved, then you could actually have a 3-man attacking front. Could. Yeah. Possibly. Right. So it's either or. We're going to have to find out on Saturday.
Saturday. 24 hours away or a little bit over. 27 hours away. Yeah. Kane the long shot. Are you still there, buddy?
Yeah, still here.
All right, man. Well, what are your thoughts, bro? I appreciate you coming on, man. You're making a debut. Second debut in a week, and if you do half as good here as you did on Irish Hotspur, man, you're gonna be a fan favorite for sure. Tell me, man, what are your thoughts on Saturday, tomorrow night, English time? Do you think Mr. K got a point? His formation, does Bergwijn start? How do you want to see it set up?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I feel like Mr. K said a lot of what I planned on saying. You know what I mean? It's really going to depend.
You can repeat it. You can repeat it. You probably say it nicer than me. You have this lovely accent. Why not use it?
Yeah, exactly. I'm going to say the same thing, only in American, right? But
let's not talk about Canada right now.
Yeah.
No, I mean, definitely we do have some big players coming back in. Sonny coming back. We do need to see how Kulusevski might fit in. Bentancur is probably still a little bit too soon. He just came back the other day, from international. But no, I would definitely want to see us do, Conte wants that 3-4-3. The better we get it in their system, the sooner we get it in their system, probably the better. Brighton's going to be a very interesting choice. Normally because of the way they play. Normally they like to be very offensive, but historically lately when they play us, they actually do tend to sit back. So it's going to be interesting to see what tactic they choose going against us, and then how we're going to go ahead and counter that. I would like to see a 3-4-3. Yeah. I wouldn't start Son so soon. He is coming back from that injury. God forbid he does get injured again if you put him out there. Same with Romero. So back 3, you're most likely going to see Davies, Dyer, Sanchez, which is not too bad. You know what I mean? Sanchez in the right, having Dyer back is immense. Left, Reguilon. Want to see him get to form. Okay. Right, I would honestly, to take a page out of Alex's book, I would like to start Doherty. I think having Emerson, I think Doherty's actually looked better than Emerson, at least moving forward. Now, Doherty obviously has his own problems, but he's put out a couple of performances that should be rewarded. Let's see if there is something there worth saving. Midfield, I think I saw Danny Kiriakou say Skip has a knock. So
really?
we will.
I didn't see that.
Yeah.
Was that in the chat?
Yeah,
was it?
It was in the chat. He said Skip has an injury. So that's going to be...
Do.
What are you doing to me? Do.
Yeah, do bad news is what that is. But, you know, we could most likely see Højbjerg Winks. That seems to be really the only option if that's the case. Bentancur, it's way too soon to bet him in.
Yeah.
And then front three, I would put Bergwijn up front, just like Mr. K said. You know, Conte's said some really great things about him. It's Bergwijn's time to really step up and show what he can bring. Especially after, you know, the Leicester match. Chelsea, he wasn't phenomenal, but you know what I mean? It's Chelsea. So I wouldn't hold that against him. This is going to be the time. I wouldn't actually mind either if we did have Kulusevski in a number 10 role behind a Bergwijn and Kane up front.
Straight away. You'd start him, would you? Okay.
Yeah.
I love that. Love that confidence in him.
He got his work permit. He's been training. They showed his training session. He's been training for a bit now, so maybe he doesn't complete the whole 90, but get him in there. It is a cup game. I want to make sure that we at least see where he is before going into the league. You know what I mean? We've got Southampton next in the league. That's going to be Wednesday. Let's see what he can do. Maybe he doesn't play the full 90, but we at least see what he has in him. And then if we need to change, well, we know what we have in Lucas. You know what I mean? If we do need to put Lucas on there, move him outright, change the positions. You know, we at least know what the quantity is to change the system. Yep. But with Kulusevski, put him in there. Let's see what he can do, and then we know where to go, right?
Yeah. Okay. Interesting. Listen, Izan, I'm gonna finish the conversation about Brighton with you, because I didn't ask you this question earlier, but Kane raises a good point about, you know, we have Lucas Moura on the bench, maybe, right? We can try things if we need to bring him on. What I want to do is ask you a 2-point question, because the first one might be a quick answer, and then I'll let you develop the second one. First point is Lucas Moura as effective coming off the bench than, say, a Bergwijn, right? Or does Lucas Moura usually, when he plays well, is he part of a pivotal team that's given him 90 minutes or at least the first 70 to make things happen? So would you rely on Lucas Moura to come off the bench to make the difference if we need it? Or would you rather see the other way around, Bergwijn to come off the bench for Lucas? How do you think about that? And then also, I want you to take it into what happens on Wednesday. We've got Southampton. You know, how does Conte's decision making around the strategy, around the formation, and around the team selection, how is that going to be shaped by Southampton at home? It's a game we played them not that long ago, and they were very stubborn against us and held us to a draw. What are your thoughts for the Southampton game? And then after that, we'll come round to Mr. K and ask him about Southampton and Wolves, and we'll go around and just do a...
Guys, there's one question you guys forgot to ask earlier about the game that we've got coming up tomorrow, and that is, do you think our team's going to press Brighton?
Well,
will we use pressing techniques?
How
will we invite them into the midfield and then try to hit them on the counter?
Well, technically, every team presses, but like you have to be more specific. What do you mean by them pressing?
The high press or the low press?
I've seen our time. I understand. What I'm saying is that basically I've seen our team a couple of times not do the press against the opposition's defense. Right, they're sit backing a little bit.
Yeah.
And I've seen them use that as a tactic, and I'm thinking to myself, if the team went into a 3-5-2, right, to block off to do a midfield block, right, then that would be a perfect way to let them come on, steal the ball, counter-attack. Then it's all about 1 pass, 2 pass, touch, and bang. I mean, what's your thoughts on that? Because that is going to be a crucial part of how we play against Brighton. That's a team that likes to sit back. There's no point us trying to all come forward with the ball if they're going to sit back. We've got no creative player to undo their locks, you know.
I'm not sure they do sit back, Mr. K. Isham was bringing out the stats earlier on that suggest that they're like 2 or 3 in the league for pressing high.
Traditionally, no, they don't. Traditionally, they do like to be very aggressive. I mean, we even saw
Normally
that
they do.
against.
I'm just thinking
But-
that against our team, we're playing at home. It's a cup match. Brighton probably wants to have a cup run. They probably want to do something well in it. They don't have the congestion fixture that we've got, a fixture congestion that we have. So to them, right, I reckon they're going to pull everything out to try to win this game, frustrate us as much as possible, and then try to pass the ball around us whenever they got opportunities.
Which there is precedence for. Brighton has sat back against us before, even with Potter in charge. They do actually do that against us specifically. So that is kind of it is a question. You know, what Brighton are we going to face? It is a tactical mystery.
Technically, our biggest strength is counterattack.
Yeah.
We're one of the best in the league at that. So if you're afraid of counterattack, then you're going to sit back. You're going to say, "Come on, then grab the ball, try to pass it around." If you can't, ever since you lost Ericsson, we've noticed you can't do anything. Knock the ball in. We've got defenders and knock it back out. Thank you very much.
And that right there exactly is where I think Kulusevski could play a role, because he does have that ability to open a lock. He has very good through passing.
He does,
and he's an unknown quantity. Brighton haven't faced him yet. They don't. You know, I'm sure they've watched some tape on him, but they have not had him on the field against him.
Yeah, it takes a month or two to get someone out.
Exactly. So if you use that to your advantage, put Kulusevski out there. If Brighton do sit back, we do have the ability to make some passing happen. Maybe we catch him by surprise. If they do decide to press, he also has some pace. Move him. He can go forward. If Kane, the interesting thing here is Kane does have that tendency to sit deeper, so you can almost have the Bergwijn and Kulusevski be the pacey forwards, playing that line, pushing forward, with Kane making those passes. So we do have some tactical versatility here, depending on how Brighton want to play us. But it is a question. The only way to find out is to find out tomorrow. You know exactly how Brighton plays.
I thought it was important to mention this because how we play is just as important as the formations that we use.
Yeah, of course, 100%.
And when you look at the strengths that Brighton has got, and when Brighton looks at us and looks at the strengths we've got, sometimes teams don't always push their strength forward. They try to counter the opposition. That's what Premier League teams are very good at doing. Countering each other, neutralizing each other out as best as possible. Anyway, Sean, back to you. Whatever it was you were asking.
No, it's all good. I was just come to his hand. Like, how do you see the... How do you see what Mr. Kane had been saying? Do you know, and like I say, factoring in Southampton on Wednesday, where's your thoughts? How much of the team selection should be based on preparing for? It's only 72 hours later. Right? Oh no, sorry, it's whatever, 4 days later. But it's important. So
I think with 4 days we will have time for rest. So I don't think anyone's really going to be. I don't think Kane is going to be benched or anything like that. So I think he will go full strength. He will want to get a cup run, especially the FA Cup. I mean, imagine if we won the FA Cup. It's not going to happen, but imagine if we won.
Might do. We can dream. We can dream.
But personally, I think Brighton will have more of the ball, and I think we will try to hit them on the break. I think both teams are going to be cautious. We're going to wait for you to attack, and then we're going to hit you on the break, and then Brighton is going to be like, oh, we're going to wait for you to attack and hit you on the break. But I think that will be the main game plan, but Brighton will have more control of the ball. They're going to have more possession, I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
And Southampton, do you see anything changing though, or do you think we're gonna whatever if the system works tomorrow? Do you see Conte prioritizing tomorrow as highly as Southampton? Do you see there's one is more important than the other, and do you see if the system works tomorrow that it'll be kind of rinse and repeat, or do you think we're going to have now kind of more rotation because he's got a team of players that he wants and he can mix and match as he sees fit? Isan?
I don't know. Yeah, I think we'll see some bench appearances. I think we could see Kulusevski off the bench, and I think Romero off the bench, and then this is him sort of slowly integrating those two players into his first team. And then against Southampton in the Premier League game, which let's be real, the Premier League games are a priority because we need the top four for that revenue, as you mentioned. So I think he's going to bring Romero and Kulusevski off the bench. Maybe Bentancur plays. I'm not sure. He might be integrated later. But I think those two players, Kulusevski and Romero, will come off the bench. and then be slowly integrated into the team in time for the Southampton game.
Okay. Interesting. So, Mr. K, you're thinking that you want to see Kulusevski start, do you?
I think it's too soon to start him. But he is out of the two players, he's the one that's most immediately able to play.
Yeah.
Okay. Because he's a forward player, all he needs to do is hang around the front, or it's easier to get him to be trained up to do what he naturally does. With a midfield player, there's a lot more tactical stuff that you have to become you have to fine-tune yourself to. So I think he's going to be a bit longer to get ready. I don't think Romero's in shape enough to really come straight onto the pitch. You never know. Conte might chuck him straight on. But Romero himself has not spent enough time in the Premier League. And then he got injured straight away. So he's still going to take time to develop as a player. But the question is that if we put Davis on the left-hand side and he ever gets injured, what on earth are we ever going to do without him? We don't have any left-footed ones, and we can't stick Sanchez in there. He's not very good on the left at all. And I don't want to take Dyer out the middle.
It's weird, isn't it, that Ben Davies is such a clinical and crucial player because we literally don't have a backup for him. Tanganga can't do it. Rodon can't do it.
Before, Davies used to give us a 6 out of 10 on a regular basis, unless he has a really mirror of a game. But he never used to get much higher. But recently, since Conte's got there, his performances have got up to 6.5 on average, which is quite decent, to tell you the truth, for someone who that cost how much he costs, how old he is, and so forth. I think we're getting away with what we can get away with. There are some lovely looking left-footed player defenders out there that we could very easily snap up in summer. But anyway, that's talk for another time. But right now, in terms of games, you're right. There is a bit of I said congestion coming up, right, in terms of games.
Who are the other games coming up? And then we've got Wolves on the following weekend, and then after that, then we got
Man City.
No, we got something on the Wednesday.
We've got Southampton on Wednesday, then Wolves on the weekend,
and then Man City.
And then Man City the following week, isn't it? Yeah.
Yep. And then Leeds after that.
And Burnley, and Burnley's been squeezed in as well.
Man City, Burnley on the 23rd, and then Leeds on the 26th.
Yeah, so we got 3 away games in 10 days after.
You were asking before about having these games in hand and so on. This is the unfortunate side of having games in hand.
Yeah.
The other teams will have a whole week to get prepared, and we'll have 2 days.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not good.
One day rest.
That's why these
1 day rest, 1 day training, and that's it. You're done. Sorry, Nick, I didn't hear you.
Oh, I was saying that's why these signings are so important, because they add actual depth to our squad. Unlike the Delis, the Ndombeles that don't do anything, offer literally nothing. These guys will actually
taken the negative away. I think it's taken the negative away from the fans, so we can focus our energy and give positive energy to our team throughout the game. And Conte understands we're the 12th man, and he's really trying to use us as one. And I think that's quite, that's one thing I think everyone loves about Conte. He's acting on our behalf when he's in the dressing room and on the training pitch, and especially up against management. And that's why we love him so much. I mean, already he's only been there 2-3 months, but bang. Did Sean just say Ben Davis?
Yeah. No, I said the word clinical, but what I actually meant to say, Cody, was crucial. I didn't mean clinical. It was a fat tongue of mine. But I appreciate you always listening, Cody. You're always listening, always picking me up, ready to shoot me down when I say something silly. All right, guys, listen. Last question I have for everyone, because we're getting to the 2.5 hour mark, and it's about time. I think kind of the content that I wanted to get through today. I do want to go into the financial stuff in more detail, but I don't want. I think Mr. K, you're right to do it in bite-sized chunks because it's a bit overwhelming and boring for a lot of people. But
maybe do a summary at the end. Maybe do a summary of everything that you've done in the finance, but just summarize it.
No, I'm going to do. I'll probably do something. I'll probably record something. Actually, not in a live stream. I'll probably just record a video where I've got more time to break it down and kind of go into things and stuff, so people can then watch that at leisure rather than doing it on a live stream where it's a bit too.
It's dry, but it's so immensely important in understanding why the club operates the way it does, the moves that we make, how we make them. You know what I mean? Even I'm guilty of sometimes just put the money down, go up there, get Luis Diaz, get Dybala. Why aren't you doing these things? Well, you understand why we're not doing those things when you see we're 150 million in debt, and that's not even including what we had to pay Nuno to leave, what we paid Conte to come in, and his staff
Oh,
and
have you
all.
forgotten how much money we have to spend in summer for the players that we've already
Yeah.
bought? I mean,
Exactly. You know what I mean?
Exactly right.
They're on
So
loan.
it is dry
so-
material, but it's very
Yeah.
important.
One thing I do think is that, like, you know, the Romero loan to buy deal, I think that came out of last summer's budget. I think Levy was like, yeah, we know we're going to sign a player, like this player, this quality. And so he just set that money aside. Like, I do think that if you look at our transfer outlay, it was like 90 million or so. So I don't think, like, you know, I do think that money was set aside from last season's transfer budget for Romero.
Well, it might well have been, but like still, just in terms of looking at the cash flow forecast, when you have to factor in how much money we have to pay, and if we don't qualify, we basically make ends meet, bar 10 million here or there, which doesn't really touch the sides of what a football team needs. So, like I say, I do think it's probably dull for a live stream. It's something I'll make more creative and interactive on a private video.
So you said that we had like 8 million profit, right? When this season, when we made the Conference League, right?
8 million in prize money from UEFA.
Like, right? But what if we made the Europa League, right? Wouldn't that be a bit more?
Yeah, it would be. Yeah, so that was
how far
factoring.
we get.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. It's just factoring in what will be on the 2022 reports, and this year because we're done with Europe, it will say 8 million because of prize money from UEFA. If we get into the then next year, obviously, it will be whether it's 25, 50, 75, 100 million. That all depends on whether we finish 4th, 5th, 6th, and how far we get in those tournaments. So, but I will break all that down with and kind of give hypotheses of where we could be, where we won't be going forward. The last question, guys, before we wrap it up, because I do think I've kind of run out of new topics to talk about today. I didn't know how far this was going to go, but I do appreciate all you guys so much for coming on. And I do want to talk about, because I can't believe how important I think this is, and I just want to see if maybe I'm overstating it. But Bentancur, and I know we mentioned it earlier, and you called me out, Isham, for getting it wrong. Romero was a winner of the Copa America, and I forgot about that, and you embarrassed me, you bastard. But I thought Ben Davies was the only outfield player that had won a trophy, and he didn't even play in the final when he won it. We got Hugo Lloris, who's a World Cup winner, but he can't impact too much out in the field. Christian Romero, yes, he's an absolute winner as well, but he's been out injured, so hopefully he'll bring something to the table. In the middle of the park, we've now got a guy who's won, I think, 2 or 3 Serie A, I think 2 or 3 Coppa Italia. So how much of an important factor, how much of the missing piece, when you find out that Tottenham have made... We've made 6 FA Cup or Carling Cup finals, Carabao Cup finals, or Champions League finals in the last, in Daniel Levy's tenure, 21 years. We've made 16 semi-finals or finals over that period, and we've only converted 1. I personally think if you're good enough to get that far, you should be good enough to win it on a 1-game shootout, although I do appreciate that we're never really the favourite in any of those matches. Cody always reminds me of that. We're never the favourite in the final, apart from, I think, the Blackburn final in 2000 and whenever that year was when we lost to Blackburn in Wales. But do we think like the comeback of Romero and hopefully the winning mentality of someone like Bentancur in the midfield, such a crucial position in the park, do you think that is going to be more than just an incidental element to adding to a winning mentality that we need, that we so far lack? And I'll come to Kane first, and then to Izan, and then to Mr. K, and then we'll go around the houses from there. Kane, how important is the winning mentality? How important of a factor is it that we don't have it or we haven't had it? And is Bentancur potentially, in your mind, going to be the difference that can get us over the line if we got to the FA Cup final this year?
I mean, yeah, obviously, you do need that winning mentality. Having winners in your squad is always better than not having winners. You know what I mean? You have Lloris, World Cup champion. You have Romero, won the Copa America. I think Lucas was part of some game or some league-winning PSG seasons back when he was in PSG.
Yeah, on the bench.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, on the bench, but you get what you can, I guess.
He was there. He just scored that goal against Ajax.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Bergwijn's got that type of thing as well.
Bentancur is going to be an interesting one in that he has the experience of being a league-winning staple of a team. You know, he was part of Juventus for, I want to say he won 3 leagues with them. That
Yes, he did
said,
3.
one criticism that I think I have read from Juve fans is that he hasn't really stepped up to be the leader that they thought he would. So it is going to be a question for him if he does have the personality. Like, it's not just a matter of mentality, but having the personality to step up in the midfield, be vocal. Like when you look at Højbjerg, what has Højbjerg won? Nothing. You know, he did come through the Bayern Munich academy, but he doesn't have many championships to his name. You know, he doesn't have many titles to his name. That said, he's the first person to be there, be vocal. Big up, Danny. You know, really get in players' faces and say, look, you are not performing what you need to be doing. Get up. It's a collective thing. You know what I mean? It's a very collective thing. Having big personalities is part of it. Having winning mentality is part of it. Having people with a history of winning, being involved in locker rooms that have that experience. But it's up to Conte to foster a togetherness amongst the locker room and make sure they're all fighting for each other. With that, the winning mentality will come. You only need to look so far as Leicester City just a couple seasons ago. They didn't have a whole lot of proven winners in that squad. But when you look at what Ranieri did with the locker room from the beginning of the season across, as they started winning and that started to become infectious, it's possible to foster that, you know, and to build that up even from nothing. So it is a part. It is, you know, you definitely want to have winners. They are an ingredient in this big meal, but it's not the whole thing. And it's something that I think Conte does have the ability to build up himself. And I think everybody being together is going to be more important. And that's why we saw Lo Celso, Tanguy, Dele out. If you're not part of this, if you are not going to fight for everybody in that locker room, you don't need to be here.
Yep. Yeah, love it, man. Love it. Absolutely. Well said. Yeah, it's more than just a player on the pitch who's got it's something that's intangible, right? Inspiring. Ihsan, what are your takes on it, mate? How important is it to have winners on the pitch that have done it before that can get us over the line? Do you think there'll be the difference? Can we make it happen this year? Or is it another disappointment?
It's more than just having that experience or that winning mentality. It's also, you have to see the level Bentancur's played at. I mean, this guy has been playing in the Champions League, quarterfinals, semifinals, and you know, he's been playing like Serie A is not a trash, like it's not a trash league. There's a lot of good teams in Serie A, like, you know, obviously the Milan teams, Atalanta. You know, there's good teams, there's a good competition, and for a long period of time, this guy was almost the Casemiro of Juventus. So this guy's really solid. He's experienced. He's only 24. He has a lot of experience under his belt, and he's only 24 years old. So my concern isn't that will he be able to play at a Premier League level, because he's arguably played at a higher level against better teams, right? My concern is that will he fit into Conte's tactics? And to be honest, I'm not really worried, because he seems like a Conte-type player, strong work ethic, you know, runs himself into the ground, wins the ball a lot, and he's going to be a really solid signing. I think that he's going to hit the ground running before Kulusevski does. I think Kulusevski is younger, more of a raw talent. I think he'll take some time to like adjust and develop and get his spot in the team. But I think Bentancur, he's going to be a real noticeable upgrade immediately in our midfield.
Yeah, amazing, mate. Amazing. I'm pumped. I really appreciate that insight from both of you. Mr. K, you still there, or have you gone off stream?
I'm certainly still here. Sorry, I was just wee little smoke on the side.
You can smoke on the stream. I don't mind. I vape all day long, so it's not a problem for me.
I know,
Hope it
but
doesn't offend anybody else.
in case the younger viewers are watching.
Oh, you know what? That's a really good point. Maybe I shouldn't do that.
There might be some parents sitting with their kids or whatever, and you know.
Well, if there are, I'm very sorry, Mum and Dad. Didn't mean to. Yeah, it's a good point actually.
The language as well. You watch on my streams. I people behave themselves in the language as well. But I think it's just me as a person, my age maybe, generation.
No, I get it. It's respect. I appreciate that.
The generational thing, that's where the mentality comes in. Okay, so we've got, the younger football players that are out there now, especially in this country, their mentality is not 100% there, like maybe the Italian league would start, like in Juve, for example. So I think that when Ericsson first came over to us, we heard from Ajax fans say exactly the same things that Nick just said about Juve fans talking about Benteke, which is that basically he's not the finished article. They don't know if he can become the finished article. They don't know if he can like step up to the plate to become like a commander in chief in the midfield. Okay. Now, when Ericsson came into our team, we were kind of, he had the same type of tell that the fans were saying, you know what, this guy, he's not, doesn't take command of the whichever position he's in, to become like the captain figure. But with Benteke being in a central position and being from Juve, regardless of what the Juve fans think, he's going to be a million times better in terms of mentality than any of us, right? So it's an upgrade for sure. But unfortunately, I think it's going to take some time, like a Romero, for him to become established in that part of it. But if you get rid of those people that are Lo Celso, Lo Celso to a certain degree, look, there's a lot of luck involved in football, and there's a lot of superstition too. So sometimes, teams think that certain players represent bad luck to them. Like, for example, in our team, way back before Redknapp came along in 2007, 2008 season, Bale was considered to be a bad luck person. You put him in your team, you're going to lose the game. Okay? So this type of mentality definitely exists. So if you get rid of people like Lo Celso, you get rid of people like Dombele, right? And you get rid of someone like Dele Alli, for example, which is like, quite a giant figure inside our club.
Yeah.
It shows the intention of the manager to say, listen, guys, I don't care what the politics was like before. We're not dealing with Ryan's mates right now. There's no mates rates here, even though Ryan's part of his team. I think that's going to send a message to the team. Listen, work hard. And Conte comes up to individual players and say, listen, I've got a plan for you, not this game, but the next game. And he said in press conferences many times, I have to give these players an opportunity. It's not fair. He goes, it's not fair that they don't get to play. Now, I know diplomatically he has to say that because he's dealing with players' mentalities and they're quite fragile, right? But look what he did to Bergwijn with that mentality. He bigged him up beforehand, like spent like 2-3 weeks bigging up Bergwijn. And then he put him on when he needed him and said, listen,
got a tune.
All I want you to do is score goals.
Yep.
He didn't give me any of the instructions. He said, go be a bloody goal. And so Bergwijn knew, I'm only here to score a goal. The team knew this guy's here. He's been subbed on. He's got to be the one scoring the goals for us. Kane knows, don't take the ball. Look for the pass. Make it happen. Doherty knew, create interference. Give someone in the team an opportunity to knock the ball in the net. And that's exactly what the team did. They came together.
Yep.
And that's what you want from the team.
That's what you want from the team, yeah.
Regardless of win or fail, that's what you want.
It's also what you want from a fan base, Mr. K, as you're always saying, buddy. We should all, whatever your divisions, whatever your opinions are, we've all got to stick together. And that's what we need, right? We always need harmony. At the end of the day, we can all have our own paths and our own thoughts.
The team can do it for us, and I think Conte is the man that can heal the fan base.
It's really interesting what's James Kingsnorth just said. Conte has said that Kulo, I guess this was in the press conference that we didn't see, that Conte that Kulo can play at right wing back. I mean, didn't see that one coming.
Yeah, I think that quote is taken out of context.
If you try hard enough, Kane can play a center back. That doesn't mean that's where you want him. You know what I mean?
I've seen Kane playing the goal.
Yeah, exactly.
He used to be our number one free kick taker.
That doesn't mean that's where you put him.
Fucking brilliant! Great way to finish, guys. Listen, thank you all so much for stopping by in the comments and the chats. But it's the time of the show now where I have to let everybody know where everybody can find the wonderful panel. It has been 2.5 hours. I thought it was only going to be a 90-minute to 2-hour thing. We have gone over, but it's not going to be the 5-hour show that it could have been. However, you might better do that on Sunday. So tomorrow night, I'm going to be at Irish Hotspur for the watch-along. But Sunday night, I might be back here for the thing that happened the previous Sunday. I think it was 2 Sundays ago when it got a little bit glug, 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 glug. And got a little bit out of hand, if you remember. It was a lot of fun. Stop by. I'll let everyone know if we're doing that. But I'm not as important as these wonderful people here, and here, who have stayed and paid their time with me this afternoon. So let's start with Mr. K. Where can everyone find you, buddy?
I normally just appear on Will Stewart's THFC Rants channel. I have a show on that every Tuesday night, 11 o'clock GMT till about 1 o'clock. But other than that, I'm normally appearing in other people's shows because everyone out there, this is a fantastic community. If you don't know about this channel, please do like it. Subscribe if you can. Share. Twitter's free. Do it. Do it for Sean.
Let me get Will Stewart's show up. Hang on, let me find it. Will Stewart THFC Rants. I had a wonderful time on his show last night.
Oh, listen, have you got access to the YouTube page while you're in front of your screen as well?
So yes, I do. Yes.
All right. So all you got to do to create a mod. Let's do one now. Yeah. Hello.
Oh no, I haven't got mine. I will do that. I know you showed me last time. I will make you a mod.
Yeah.
I will do. I'll get back to that.
No, you can basically choose the people that you see in the chat that come regularly.
Yeah.
And then make like 2-3 of them into mods.
Okay. No, I will do that. 100% will do that. But Mr. K, Talk to K, Tuesday nights on Will Stewart's channel. Will Stewart's a lovely guy as well. If you want to find absolutely insane levels of audio and like the production level of the shows that he does and Mr. K do, it's insane. It's very fun. Go over to Will Stewart's
channel. It's a fan show for the fans.
It's a brilliant channel, so make sure you go over there. Izan, I know we've done this before. Your Instagram, I'm going to put your Instagram handle. What is it? It's at
Ishan Khan 22. It's
Ishan Khan
on YouTube. Khan KHAN.
AH.
I'll put it in the chat. If you look in the chat, you see it there.
Big up Mr.
Ishan Khan 22.
Oh, I got it. Okay, he's beat me to it. Perfect. Make sure you get over there and if you need to get in touch with his hand, he doesn't post very much on.
Wrong.
Oh, have I fucked it?
Yeah, it's a KHAN.
Oh,
Mr. K.
Viewers out there, don't follow the German spelling of Khan or Han.
Take Mr. K's version, guys. Take Mr. K's version. I've messed it up like I always do. Kane the long shot, Nick, my man. You've had absolute pleasure to have you on, buddy. Where can everyone find you?
You'll find me popping onto these streams hopefully more often. As much as you guys host them, I hop on as much as I can. Other than that,
so good to hear your voice, mate.
Yeah, other than that, I'm the international man of mystery. You won't find me anywhere on social media, or you will see me in the comment section, or hopefully popping on streams, and preferably not while I'm at work. I will say, while I do have a little bit, Ellie, Højbjerg has won many things. Please forgive me. The important thing to take away from my point was his mentality. He's got such a great mentality. I don't want Ellie mad at me. She's got that Viking blood too.
I'm pretty sure Ellie's actually just rubbing more salt in my wounds when I started the show by saying there's nobody in our outfield team that's won anything. And Izan started by reminding me that Romero has, and now Ellie's told me that Emil Højbjerg has, and I'm sure there's a few other players as well. Maybe I'm completely wrong. Yes. Maybe we have winners dotted through the team. I didn't realise it.
And Mr. K, your intro on Will's show is the best. Like you hands down best intro.
You're embarrassing me now. Wait till you get your intro, mate.
No. Your intro, I have to say, that beat was fire.
Guys,
it's a pleasure to finally hear your voice because I've seen your name so many times interacting with me in the chat. It's an absolute pleasure. And one of the things I like to say when I meet new people, Levy out. Anyway.
All right, guys, listen.
That was my favorite. When you went on the epic Levy out rant, that was
yeah. I saw that rant.
That was when Mr. K was a legend.
That just happened by random chance, man. Honest to God, I was the last person to come on, and I thought, what's to talk about? Everyone's talked about tactics. Everyone's talked about this. Everyone's talked about that. I thought, sort it. Love you out.
It was very good.
Where do you have the photo? Like, you have that Levy photo in your room? Like, where is that?
No, it's on his other computer, isn't it?
Okay,
so basically, monitor.
Yeah, it's basically I have this 4K monitor over here. I've got 2 of them. I've got basically my studio's over there in that room, but my 11-year-old son is taking it over. like everything else technology-wise. So I'm stuck in the kitchen until I get that back. And in the kitchen, what I decided to do was, because can't put backdrops and everything behind there, I've just got a big monitor, and I thought, let me just turn it sideways, and then that way I can interact with the users and give them visual cues of what I'm doing and what I'm talking about and what I'm referring to. And it just became like, it just happened by chance that the two things clicked together with the levy out and him being right next to me. So there's another tip. You got space behind you. You can put all kinds of stuff, to let people know that you like a Spurs supporter and stuff like that. That's a lovely spot right behind your head on the left-hand side, right at the top corner. Bang. Put something there.
Who's that? Who's talking to? Sure. Me or Ishan?
Ishan.
Yeah.
Right there. You got space there. You got space on your right as well. Use the area around you to make it like, I mean, look, all right, guys. Sean's got his. Beautiful setup. My days.
All right, guys, listen, it's been an awesome show. Thank you, everyone, for stopping by. Everyone in the panel, you've been absolutely amazing. Thank you, everyone in the comments. Last thing I want to say is I want to join a Chris Agumba who's saying he wants to wish Ishan a good luck with the dentist. Mate, I hope we finish just in time. So now you can go and floss a few more times and give it a couple more brushes and a bit of gargling with the mouthwash to make sure the dentist has a good experience as much as you do when he breathes your breath. Guys, I want to wish you all a wonderful day. We're going to be back for game day tomorrow afternoon at Irish Hotspur. And like I said, you may be fortunate enough, if you're interested, to spend Sunday evening on this channel where we have a few drinks and see what happens.
Guys, don't forget, Hitchen's gone. Hitchen's gone. The future is bright.
At the start of the stream.
The future is bright. The future is lily white. I'm going to drop you guys out and I'm going to say goodnight, and then I'm going to put the thing out and I'll see you guys in the background. Thank you very much, Mr. K. I'll see you soon. Do you want to say Levy out? Just do your thing.
Levy out.
Kane, do you want to say anything? Levy in, Hitchen in? Who do you want in? I don't know.
The only thing else is, come on, you Spurs.
There we go. Nice one. Izan, good luck at the dentist, bro. Last thing, what do you want to say, buddy?
This is what I want to say. In Conte we trust, Don Paratici in.
Very cool. Very cool. All right, guys, thank you all for stopping by. Love you all. See you next time. And as ever, the future is bright. The future is lily white. Lovely touch from him though. Harry Kane, Lucas Moura, can you do something, please? Last chance, Matt Doherty! Oh, you shite! There could be from the dead to the don't fuck it up now, go and win it! Let's go for the chance! Stephen Bergwijn! Stephen Bergwijn's through! Win it, Stephen! Come on!